Welcome back. Season 3 of the Posthuman Podcast. Today's guest, she's been on the show before, personal accountability coach, the host of Unleashing the Champion Within podcast, and certified global motivational speaker, Andrea Mason. What a mouthful. Thank you and welcome back to the show.
An honor and pleasure to be here. Thank you so much, Tim. It's great to be back on the Posthuman Podcast. Welcome back. I'm so excited. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I mean, it's been, I was looking through my notes the other day because in my head, I've only took 8 months off, and I was like, when was the last show?
Yeah.
2 years. I was
Yes.
like, whoa.
Yes. A lot has happened. Yes.
It was almost to the dot. It was like when I got it in my book, it was like 2 years and 2 weeks.
Wow.
And I was like, oh my God, I've had far too much time off. So
yes.
During all that time, how have you been? How's life progressing?
Life is amazing. Since then, I have had so many amazing experiences from neighbors in your neck of the woods, as well as speaking events. I was a featured speaker in the Big Apple, a keynote featured speaker for the Latino Travel World Fest. I have contributed my personal excerpt, a little blurb of my story to #1 Amazon bestseller international anthology.
Oh, cool.
So it's been all good, all uphill. There has been a few hiccups. You know, we kind of doubt ourselves. We kind of say, you know, am I going in the right direction? What is happening? And then you're on this high, and then life comes and just knocks you off your path, and you just got to get back up. So all in all is good.
It definitely does that. It has a really good habit of just doing it at the right time when everything's rolling. You think everything's all on track, and something comes sideways, and you go, "Oh, geez, it is." You can't plan for stuff like that at all.
Right.
Believe me, I've again too much time off.
Yes.
So let's just give a little reminder to some new listeners, returning listeners, hopefully returning. I've had that much time off. Obviously motivational speaker under Dr. Les Brown. So if you just want to give the listeners a little bit of an explanation of who he is.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Les Brown is one of the top 10 motivational speakers of the world. He shares his story like no other. It truly is a privilege to listen to him speak. I actually was fortunate to meet with him a few years ago in person, and my family and his family connected. He speaks from the heart. You know, what I love about it is his true authenticity and integrity. And if anybody's watched the last show, that's my brand. That's my mark. And so what he does is he has this way of connecting with people on a relatable level. And what I love about it, Tim, is he doesn't forget where he came from. And the common thread that him and I share is that we are both adoptees. And, you know, he graciously had the privilege to go back to his roots and really find and learn about his birth mother and family and so forth. But that's more for him to share. And I'm still waiting. You know, I have no medical records, no pictures or anything. I just came here at 11 months old at 11 pounds, a pound per month, and the rest is history.
I mean, it's crazy. When you look back to like your childhood, do you ever go, what's some of like the main things where you look back and go, man, this is so different. Like I never envisioned this happening. Was there anything like that where you look back on the day and you go, man, I never really would have imagined myself in this position as an adult from when I was a child?
Never in a million years. You know, I have experienced victim of abuse, bullying of every sort, you know, adjusting to not only the culture, the environment, but really fitting into my own skin, not knowing who I was. So what I was able to do was to take the adversity of life and mold my identity out of it. And, you know, when I was growing up, I was the FBI, CIA kind of behind the curtains girl who never disclosed anything, never shared anything. I would help people and then just walk away, or I'd be behind the scenes that bridge the gap. And so as I evolved and healed and went through the motions, Dr. Brown really brought it out. And he was just says his quote, 11 pounds of greatness. They didn't know then, but they know now. And it's just awesome.
Have you ever really tried to look into it much?
Yes.
I'd
So
imagine it's pretty tricky, you know, in terms of finding any documents, paperwork,
right,
and stuff
right.
like
I
that. I'd
mean,
imagine.
during that time, it was the war-torn era of the cartel during Colombia, South America at that time. So the documents really weren't well established, as I'm sure in an up and coming developing country now. I looked at the paperwork. I that I did small amount of paperwork my senior year, and it was just a lot of legal verbiage. It wasn't anything personal, you
Right.
know. There was a few excerpts of letters between the facilities, the orphanages, and the adoption center, but that's really it.
You ever tried doing like a 23andMe?
No,
No.
I I have a poor experience with blood work with my medical practitioners is that allegedly they lost it. So that kind of corked that in the butt
That's
to really go
that's
there.
that's strange. How did I lose your That's
I'm just
really
like,
weird.
you're not able to track this. You don't know the med caddy that was bringing whatever it was to the proper
Mm.
facility for a checkup, and so that kind of tighten the reins on. You know what? I'll be good. My list is to go there and learn, and I know somewhere along the mix it was hinted that I still have family there, but we'll see. You
Mm.
know,
Yeah, you
yeah.
can never really say never. It's just one of those,
Right.
you know, just curiosity things, you know.
No, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's always good to learn your lineage, I think that's a great aspect of it. If there was another way to do so, that I can assure it that'd be an option down the road.
No, of course.
Yeah.
So obviously, I'm sure we spoke about it last on the last show.
Mm,
2 decades of what you've basically been doing.
mhm.
What's been some of the biggest highlights of the 2 decades of
Oh,
the social work and psychology?
oh my gosh. It was amazing. It had its ups and downs, just like any industry. But what I loved about it, it poured the foundation of understanding the cultural diversities of individuals. When before the whole world turned upside down and inside out and sideways, we had this vision that was created for us about individuals all over the world, that Europeans acted this way, Africans acted this way, and they had these traditions and compartmentalized it. But fortunately, with social work and psychology, through those decades, I've met every walk of life there was, whether they were homeless, whether they were struggling with financial economic stress, or they were from a different country, immigrants come to America, or the whole kit and caboodle. And it really made me appreciate the interpersonal connections that we have, and the years that we've lost of that interpersonal
Of course,
connectivity when the world was closed off, really shown us what we were grateful for, or shown us what we need to do in our lives. I believe, I like to put the little title on 2020 was truly 2020 was a year of clarity. Do you really come into your own in identifying who you are? Do you really enjoy your job? Have you really explored your dreams? And through social work and psychology, being on both sides of the desk, one being a service provider and liaison between the system and the community, and the other where I was either helping family or friends that were patients, victims, or individuals, I was able to see both sides of it. And during my younger years of the bullying and abuse that I've had from my peers, really said, I remember that I wanted to be the face of change. And so it's funny, as Steve Jobs says, you connect the dot
Yeah.
backwards and you realize that you can't connect them forward. 2 decades gave me that ability to effectively listen, effectively communicate with people, and really understand, hey, you know what? We're a lot more alike than society leads on. We want to be loved, we want to be understood, and we want to be respected. And you treat each other, in that humanitarian way, all is good.
I mean, some people like that are hard to find nowadays.
Right.
That's
Yes. Oh,
one of the
yeah.
very it's like you were saying, during that pandemic, some people found themselves in a good way,
Right.
but some people just went so introvert and
Mm-hmm.
just kind of lost all their shit. Really, it really did put a big halter on people's plans and
Oh, yeah.
businesses. And obviously, that it is what it is. You can't turn back the clock on any of that.
Right.
But some of that is so hard to gain back because it's 2 years.
Yes.
2 years is a long time, and it's still
Oh, yeah.
it's still
It's
ongoing.
still happening.
It's still going on
Yeah.
realistically.
Yeah.
So I think that a lot of people are still kind of really caught in that chaos and
Mm-hmm.
don't know where to go at all, really.
Right. Right.
And this is where we're seeing a lot. It's not. I don't. There's tons of shoplifting and crime and stuff like that. And I don't necessarily just think it's because of like poverty and stuff. There's got to be more underlying reasons than the fact that there's an increase in prices or it's gang related.
Sure.
I think it's truly, but the fact that once the chaos started, once things got shut off, it
Mm-hmm.
really did have such an impact. And it
Well,
also,
yeah, go ahead.
well, sorry,
No,
no, go
go
on,
ahead.
Karen. Oh,
Well,
it also had an impact on people where they sort of came together now, and
mm-hmm.
there, a lot more organized crimes going on as well, which is a bit
Yes.
fucked up.
Right.
No,
And
sorry,
that's what it is. You have to be mindful of what perspective and what perception you're utilizing. Because if you were in a good space, like for me at the time, I was at the highlight of my career. I loved what I was doing. I was a motivational wellness specialist coach in a holistic business, and we were thriving. It was awesome. And then boom, the world was just like, yeah, we're done. And I'll never forget March 16th, 2020. I got the text and they were like, yeah, tomorrow's your last day of work. So get all your affairs in order. And yeah, I was just like, what? So, but what happened, the negative or the downside of things for those who were struggling, don't forget you had family dynamics or household structures of individuals that were outside of the home for a
Yeah,
good amount of time and really didn't deal with one another on a personal level. Now that could be spousal, that could
of
be
course.
domestic, whether it's and there could be abuse, negativity, frustration, and all of the sorts. Living with your abuser, living with your naysayer, non-believer, living with someone who you don't even speak to as well. Or it could have been the other side of the coin where, all right, you know what? This gives me time. Nothing's going on. Let me reassess my life. Let me see what I want to do. What are my passions? What are my dreams? What are my goals that I want to achieve? And I think going back to what you were saying, organized crime and, just the negativity and toxicity is number one, it was totally unexpected, caught everybody off guard. Wait a minute, I'm going to shut a business down for almost 2 years, 3 years, and you still want me to pay mortgage? You still
Yeah,
want me to pay my bills?
the bills.
What? And then it was a lot of people either were stuck or went into survival mode of struggling. And I think that's what we're seeing, the rippling effect now of, do you make it or does it break you, of what went on.
Yeah, I mean, we are living in weird, strange, chaotic times. I do think
Yeah.
it's on the up. In some weird way, I, in the same way of like all the woke stuff, that's
Right.
kind of dying down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Mm, there's so many things that had happened during like a weird 5-year period. I mean, the couple of years prior to the pandemic were pretty crazy as well.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, all the Black Lives Matter stuff. Not saying that's crazy. It was,
Right.
the actual founders were ripping people off though, which was they took a
Mm-hmm.
lot of money.
Right.
You know, again, the movement in itself should be something completely different to what it was.
Mm.
And um, strange opinion, but a lot of people share that too.
Right. Right.
But there was that, and then the whole woke stuff. There's a lot of, well, during the time I had off,
Hmm.
almost like the world's just constantly moving from subject to subject to subject.
Yep.
It
Let's
was Donald.
distract you. What, like,
It,
here's a shiny object. Here's a shiny object. And as soon as you start to question, no, wait, no, wait, check over here.
it literally is. It went from
Yes.
Donald Trump for 4 years. Once he was out of office, it was, well, the back end and the Black Lives Matter stuff,
Right.
then the presidency end, and then all the trans stuff, and then some, and it just stacks and stacks and stacks. And people don't. This is where I think the chaos is still going on, because people are just hella confused at everything.
Yeah.
Because over a 5 year period, which is a bit long, but it's not realistically. It's
Right.
every year I seem to think it gets quicker and quicker and quicker.
Yeah.
It's like when I was a kid. Your parents say, "Yeah, it gets faster as you get older." I used to go, "Well, that doesn't make any sense."
Right.
These last couple of years, just it's 2023. Yes,
Yeah. It flew by.
and the next big thing coming up. Well, it's the presidency again, and
Right.
it's there's all these little things that people can't really be arsed with either.
Right. Yeah.
And it's like, what else is there to do? Because I can't watch anything without it being politicized or it's got an agenda behind it. So people go, okay, we're just going to go out and do what the fuck we want. What is
Right.
there to do?
Right.
Shops are closed. There's nothing to physically do. Okay, the last resort. And this is what kids do: is they just fucking crime and loot, and that
When they get bored.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I think's going on. There's the
Yeah.
whole planet's bored. There's nothing to really do. There's no jobs really. There's
Yeah.
shit going. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. I live under a rock, as they say, literally. I get all of my information from both sides of the family or friends that are plugged in. And yeah, I don't, as an empath, for me, I am unable to take that much chaos
It's
because
tricky.
I've learned about in The Secret and the Law of Attraction that I've studied for years, since 2014, 15 maybe. I've learned chaos causes conditions. And I'm very particular with my words, because Bob Proctor, the late Bob Proctor, my virtual guy who had saved my life, had said, disease cannot withstand a happy mind. And so if we have positivity, we have passion, we have nurturing, and we focus on what is good in life, it will propel us to progress forward. If we focus on the negative, and that's all that's on, constant pop-ups,
Yeah.
war here, drugs here, it's just negativity. I mean, what I do is I have a playlist on YouTube of what I listen to, whether it's motivational speaking or audiobooks. I have a playlist of music if I want to be in a good frequency. I even have a playlist of music if I'm sad, that allows me to feel so I can heal. But if I go on the TV, I attempted to watch my boys, the Giants
Oh,
football.
okay.
After 5 minutes, I was like, okay, this is depressing. And I turned it off. But within that 5 minutes, not only were they not doing well their first game, but there was a medication ad, there was a drug ad, there was drinking ad, there was smoking ad, and there was like sick animals. I was like, what is happening? So that's why I'm very particular. So you can say, hey, such and such happened today. I was like, oh, really? And you just look dumbfounded because I'm not plugged in. I have to be mindful as a leader, as a coach, as a
Of course.
professional speaker, as an author, and so forth, to really fill my mind with stuff that's going to allow me to excel in my industry, in my career.
Well,
And the
that's
more people do that, I think it will help them.
well, that's the other thing as well. Is it's not even really a balance, because with what you're trying to do, you have to repel so much negativity.
Oh gosh, yes.
And it is everywhere.
Mhm. Mhm.
it's almost really hard to find a news story that's positive,
Right.
or it starts positive and
I know.
ends in a scam, a pyramid scheme. You go, what?
Yes.
And that's there was one recently in the UK, and it was about this really elder gentleman,
Okay.
and he was doing like this walk for charity around his garden or something, Sir Tom Moore or something like that. I can't remember his name.
Okay.
And I think he was kicking 100, and he'd
Mm.
done this. It was during the pandemic as well. Lockdowns went back and forth, back and forth,
Right.
and then obviously passed away. And then his family's running the charity. Well, it turns out they skimmed money off the top,
Oh,
and
wow.
now they're you look at it and you go, it's almost the writing on the cake, because you go,
Right.
this happens so much, and it was a positive story at the time.
Right.
Everybody's loving it. It's one of the biggest news stories in the UK at the time.
Right.
And then a couple of years later, it's like, fucking hell, you took all the wind out my sails with that one, because at least we
Right.
had something.
You had
And
some direction.
yeah, it's kind of it's so hard to get. I want to try and find a decent news station that just does positive news, and
Right.
it's so hard to find.
Yeah.
I don't know if there really is one. You know,
I mean, it's
I don't think
difficult.
there is.
The only thing I know we have in the States that my family watches, it's called Sunday Morning, and I believe it's 10:30 Eastern Standard Time, USA. I'm not sure if it's worldwide, if you can, with all the streaming systems
Yeah.
out there now. I'm sure you can. But they spotlight for a good hour or 2 hours. I think it's an hour or 2 hours of just positivity.
Oh
And I'm
wow.
just like, why can't we do that all
Oh
the time?
yeah,
You know
all
what I
day.
mean? Like what do you have to lose from staying positive? I mean, think about it. Crime would be down, drugs would be down, mental health would be stable. Like it's kind of like, do you not want us to be happy? Do you do you not want us to have success? Because that's the way life is. It's a constant, roller coaster,
Yeah.
ride, you know but yeah, it's difficult because you do want to find the good, but we can only sustain it now for like 3 to 5 seconds, if you're lucky, maybe 1 to 3 minutes. What is that now, the reels?
Yeah. Yeah, the
We can't watch.
shorts.
I used to do
Yeah.
videos on YouTube, and they were like, I started out 8 to 10, 10 to 12, 12 to 14 minutes. I was like, great.
I was gonna
Now it's
get
like,
into
can
this
you get
later
it?
as well.
Can you get to
Yeah.
30 seconds? Because that's all I have. And make sure you have the caption on, because I'm not going to look at you. I'm just going to read what you're saying. I'm
Yeah.
just like, what? We have the attention span of a fly these days. It's crazy.
I will
Oh,
admit I've had to get into shorts just because I was gonna do it ages ago, but I'm like, I don't like editing. I hate listening to my own voice. I'll just go, right,
right.
that's the file, push it out. And lately I've had to sit through. I gave up the other day. It was really, really hot, and I was listening to myself going, I can't fucking stand this. And I just got up and walked off. I didn't even switch my computer off. I was
Right.
just trying to make shorts. I've
Yeah.
recently done a few.
Yes.
Doing quite well, surprisingly.
They are. I mean, that's what it is. And what's crazy is that what the world wants to see, somebody getting beat up, somebody getting screamed at, a child falling.
Yeah,
I'm like, here I am doing motivational stuff, getting deep, getting serious, and they're like, bloop, bloop, next, next, next.
yeah,
I'm just like, then we wonder why we're so negative and anxious, and why mental health has rocketed over the past 10, 12 years to now, where, one of the difficult things that was for me when I was leaving the industry of social work and psychology was the population was getting younger and younger. And I was just
right,
like,
yeah.
what is happening? Why is there a 7-year-old want to take their life? Why is there a 4-year-old say, I don't want to be here anymore? I'm like,
Wow.
this is crazy. I was a liaison as a clinician for schools. And they're like, well, you know what? Because
Insane.
Timmy, or that's your name. I'm sorry. Okay, let me try.
Yes,
Because
you can't. You
Johnny,
can't. Yeah, God.
because Johnny said he wanted to, he didn't want to live anymore. Let's send the squad and the police force and a psychologist and an ambulance to his school. What? Like,
Yeah,
let's
yeah.
sit down and talk to the child. Let's figure out what's going on. And to be honest, the family dynamics have changed also. Now it's not where one household leader can bring home income. Both have to work one or more jobs. And it's kind of like either the TV, the older siblings,
Mm.
or a stranger or a college kid is raising your child the whole time.
Well, it's mostly
And
YouTube now, and then it
yeah,
goes to TikTok. So
right, right. And so it's just like I'm, coaching and working with kids because they're back to school. I'm working with families, like, monitor your children. Oh, well, he and she is okay. He or she is okay. I have to do the laundry. I just put a screen in front of them. No. Learn them to help you with the laundry if they're old enough. Learn them to do something. Get the family involved, because going back to what we said a few moments ago, boredom is when problems occur.
yeah,
If it's not boredom, then whatever's being programmed into their mind, these are young kids watching these screens all the time, raising them. So they don't have the developed brain, and according to psychology and science, to know what is right or wrong. Oh, well, it was done on there. Okay, they're not
yeah,
going to
yeah.
read "do not attempt," or they're not going to read that, hey, there's somebody watching them behind as the camera is filming. And I just think we need to really go back to the days of a village raising a child, because nowadays people can't even send out their children. I'll go play outside. No, they'll get
Yeah, yeah,
scooped. They'll scooped up. So now it's like you put them on a tight disciplinary tract where they're in the same room with you so you can kind of keep an eye on them, or trust in the next room or whatever behind closed door. If mom has a business in the office and she needs the door closed, dad's out, that they're doing something that's not harmful, whether it's mental, emotional, or physical.
I mean, kids. It's funny because when I was a kid, I used to play out all the time,
Oh my goodness, yes.
all the time. Never ever really an issue. If anything, I caused a few little minor problems, getting into some childhood misdemeanors,
Right,
stupid shit. Just stupid childish
right.
shit, but nothing that's physically dangerous.
Mhm.
Um, but you compare that to now. My God, I would never let my kids go and play out on their own now.
Oh my goodness,
Not even
no.
even if they had a location tracker on them, because
Right. It's not
it's
it's not reliable. And even if you have them in the front yard, you have to make sure you're within eye
oh my
view
God,
of
of
them.
course.
And it's just we sound like our parents. It's just a different time. It's a different era. And I remember my parents would say, "Come home when the street lights are on." And
Yeah,
if if my parents didn't catch me, darn well, two doors down will kick my butt, and then bring it back to my parents for them to discipline me. To discipline me. And now it's just like everybody's in their own cubicle with these tunnel vision on, a screen somewhere of some sort in front of them, just monitoring and attention. And that's that shiny object. I can't tell you how many families. How old is your child? Oh, well, he or she is 8 or 10, and they have a tablet, they have a phone. Why? Why do they have a tablet or phone? One family I notified them that there is this particular watch in the States that's called Gizmo.
yeah, I've heard of
And
those. Yeah,
all it is just they have two numbers that they can call out, mom and dad or their caretakers, and then four can call in. And then they have, the GPS and then the audible. There's no visual.
yep,
That's simple. Why would you give a full-fledged device that has a camera, has the RDIF, you name it, everything in this world, I mean, I even stopped wearing a Fitbit because I'm like, who's watching my stuff? I don't wear a watch. It's just it's a
not a
different
single one.
time. Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
no, it's I thought about one of those obviously for my eldest,
Mm-hmm.
um, just uh, just because again it sort of does help know where they are. I mean, obviously it's in
Right.
school, but you'd
Still,
never,
you don't
yeah. I
know what
mean,
happens in school.
you don't, but
Mm.
I mean, in this day and age, fucking hell, it's even more chaotic in schools
Yeah.
with all the shit they're teaching. Most of it, I mean, they taught nonsense to me when I was there. It's all
Right.
stuff that you can instantly learn anyway.
Right.
But this is the problem: is you give a kid a device that literally has every piece of information that's almost ever existed
Yep.
on there, and the kid can just. It's not hard to Google how do I bypass this. That
Right.
is as simple as it is. There's no firewall for that. You just got to go on to
Exactly.
Google. You can put as many security features in there as you want.
Mm-hmm.
All you've got to do is go into developer mode,
Right.
turn the whole lot off.
Yep.
it's
Exactly.
and you
Right.
to do that, all you've got to do, go in the settings. Don't do this, kids. Go in the settings, and there'll be a little software IMIE thing. Press that
Right.
about six times. Bang, developer options open. It's
Yeah.
that
It's
simple.
crazy.
I
It's
learned that
exact.
YouTube.
Everything is at your fingertips. It's pretty scary to
It,
have that. And I think it's also the overload of the abundant information out there. You don't know how to process. One site says, hey, drink coffee. Other one says, no,
yeah,
don't drink coffee. But then in 2 weeks, it'll be reversed. And that's going back to the beginning thread of our conversation was, I think, we're just so inundated with information and the shiny things, the distractions. Okay, wait a minute, wait. They're questioning. Boop. Hey, you know what? There's this. Wait, questions. Boop. And I'll never forget when all of this started. Me living in my little rock in my little studio, and one of my friends called, and they're like, "Oh, did you hear? This is going on, and this is what's happening." This was right when it first hit. So I said, all right, well, do we know what ages these people are? Do we know what demographics these people are? Do we know what their locations are? Do we know pre existing conditions? And do we know what the side effects? If I can see through the phone, I would have saw this person's jaw drop. Well, nobody's asking that. And I'm just like, why? I'm not a genius. I am really not that smart. Why is nobody asking those 5 questions? Everybody's just like, do. And what has happened that I've noticed and observed in speaking events and coaching is the individuals who have not had clarity, if you will, are just now, okay, Tim, tell me, what do I have to do? Well, you know what? Press this button. Okay, but what happens next? What do I do next?
yeah.
Okay, well, then turn this knob. Okay, what next? People just want to be told what to do now. They don't have critical thinking, analysis thinking, or the ability to think for themselves.
Not even
And that
forward
is
thinking.
no. And that's
Forward thinking
the
and
biggest,
planning.
you're right. That's the fear that I have. I can't tell you how many schools I walked in. Hey, how are you doing? My name is Andrea Mason. I'm a global motivational speaker as well as an author and motivational coach. Here are some of the topics I'd love to help your school about, mental health and bullying and abuse, as well as if you don't want to go on that realm, I respect it. How about planning and, having a successful future for your students? Thank you. No, thank you. Goodbye. I was like, wow, really? I would have loved that. My parents would have loved that if somebody came in and said, hey, you know what? Let me strategically help your child excel in anything that they do. Let me help them think on their own. Let me help them manage their emotions so they don't have meltdowns at home or they don't wall out on the bus. But these schools are closing the doors, the ones, and I'm just like, I just want to help people. I don't have malicious intent. I was on the other side my whole life. It wasn't until early adulthood that I had that aha moment on changing my channel. But again, it goes to show, do you want the help? And are you willing to do what it takes to make that shift? Not a temporary shift, a lifestyle shift, whether that's eating healthy, going to the gym, as simple as getting a structured amount of sleep for the next day, you know?
Well, I mean, during my time off again, I only most of all I eat now is meat. I don't really fuck around
Wow.
with anything else.
Wow.
It was a long, it was a weird, it was a strange process because
Hmm.
I was always struggled with gaining weight.
Hmm.
I started training for a bit, gained a little bit, but it's couldn't keep it on, and
Hmm.
then stopped, had my break,
Hmm.
and then during that thought, I'm just gonna just eat meat. Fuck it. I was doing it a little bit prior with a few other things,
Hmm.
cut some stuff out, and then just gaining weight. And I'm like,
Wow.
okay, this is working. So
Right.
I mean, I'm not sure how a lot of the um I do intermittent fasting as well, so that's where I'm
Right.
from. That's my
Yeah.
that's
Right.
why I go. If I was doing it 12 hours a day, I'd probably get gout. But
Right.
one big solid meal in the evening,
Right.
standard calories. I'm hoping in the long run it's beneficial. It's like you said, we were saying earlier, the information changes all the time, and
Right.
this carnivore diet thing come along, and thought, let's give it a fucking whirl.
Right.
And I was like, I'm actually gaining weight. I'm feeling better, feeling healthier. Somehow my skin was getting better as well, which was
Yeah.
cool.
It's
You
the
know,
iron, it's the protein that you're getting from it. And I know I'm not, I know Europe has, lean grass-fed meat, not the stuff that everything is injected with hormones over here. Like it's ridiculous. And the
yeah,
intermittent fasting, if you go over 12 to 16 hours, your body actually restores its stem cells. I did that,
yeah,
and I usually do about 12 hours to 14 hours. One day I actually challenged myself, and I think I did 20 or 22 hours. And I was just like, okay, I need to eat something because I was
that's
shaking. But again, it's moderation. Once you have awareness of your body and what the good things and bad things are, you can eat anything you want. The
oh
really
yeah,
biggest harness in the States is sugar. It's just like a drug. Sugar,
it
any type
is,
of sugar. And people who say,
really
"Oh,
is.
well, the label doesn't say sugar." Yeah, but anything ending in OSE is a variant of sugar, glucose, sucrose, or
Yeah,
what have you. So if you're able to do that, that's what I learned in the job that I had before all of this went south, was really understanding your body, that you can sustain a healthy lifestyle eating whatever you want. It's just moderation and knowing. And there's simple tactics and formalities that you learn, that I was taught on how to do so. But and another thing that I've learned is people have gotten to the point where all the DoorDash, it's easy, it's cheap,
yeah.
and everything is brought to you. And what you have to do is you have to shift your lens and look from it like, is this enabling me or empowering me? Think about it. I'm not leaving the couch. I'm not leaving my home. I'm isolated in my four walls, in my safety zone, and food is delivered to me. Groceries is delivered to me. Car maintenance is now delivered, and car service. It's just like, well, what else? I mean, I joke, a couple of years ago, I posted, wow, if for those Pixar fans out there, Wally was animated cartoon, and it was a movie by Pixar
Yeah,
and
the little
Disney,
robot.
and the little robot. And
Yeah.
what the the concept, no spoiler alert, but the concept was that everything was given to you in your lounge chair. And I was just like, well, this is what happened. Wow, they called that one, you know? And it's just like, what is your mission? What is your message? What is your purpose? What is the legacy you want to leave your life? Because if you just want to sit back in a recliner and a lazy boy and eat chips, crisps, what they call it over, in Europe, and have your lager or wine, fine. But you don't have the right to complain if you don't feel good or not
Yeah.
productive. You know what I mean? You have to take accountability and responsibility for every decision that you make or don't make, or even not making a decision is a decision in itself.
I think most people choose the third option
Yeah,
nowadays, is to just not make, not care, not give a toss,
right.
because it's just so much. It's easier, but it's such a lazy cop out option,
Yeah,
and it's so easy to fall into them pitfalls and traps as well. where you
Yeah.
just go, ah, fuck it today. I'll maybe do it tomorrow, whatever it can be, you know.
Right.
And it's for some people, it's just simple hygiene as well. Just
Oh my goodness.
you
Yeah.
know, especially even then during the pandemic. Excuse me, hold on.
Yeah.
Even then, during the pandemic, for some reason, people's hygiene has just declined, which is strange
Yes.
because they've lived in the house, but
Yeah,
you think,
pajamas and I'll shower maybe tomorrow. I'm not seeing anyone. I know people still today who like, have pajama pants on, and I'm just like,
ah,
can you get dressed? Is it that much? Is it, it doesn't take much effort, but it's a matter of where they're at. And I'm not, I'm going to be honest, like years ago, I remember grinding 40, 45 hours a week and just coming home and sit in front of the television and binging and having food and just going to sleep. I loved my sleep. Now I'm like,
I've
all right,
been
I
there.
have a structure. Okay, as soon as I put my shoes on, whether if it's flip-flops or sneakers, I'm going until I know I've at least accomplished things in my life. And I'm not saying that to boast. I'm not saying I'm, gonna change the world in a day. I'm saying, okay, and this is what I coach. Let's just keep it measurable for you. Some people want to do 20 things in a day. Some people want to do 10. Some people want to do 5. Some people want to do 4. But at least finish it. Go all in 100% from start to finish. And I think that's also another area of people today is they either lack the motivation to do anything. I'll do something and all right, I'm bored. Let me do something else. All right, I'm bored. Let me do something else. And nothing gets done. Or they stress themselves out and do a million things and it's not good quality. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And that's what you really have to fizz is like, and one of the other things that was an epiphany within the last month for me personally was your life, you're not guaranteed tomorrow,
of
and
course.
it's crazy how for me personally I took that for granted. I mean, I got sick and I was in the hospital in 2016, but since then I was like, oh, it's all good, I'm going. And then within the past month, some of my community people passed without any notice or any expectation. I was just like, wow, what am I doing? Am I really living my fullest to what I feel comfortable with? But like you said, it kind of questions and goes back to people want to be told what to do or they don't care. I'm just here another day. Great, and that's what it is. People don't care.
Well, I mean, I'm sorry to hear about that with your friends in the community. By the way, that's
Thank you. Yeah, it was an eye opener. I wasn't expecting that at all, but it really put a perspective like, how are you utilizing your time? We say we have all this time in the world, like we was mentioning before. And I'll never forget one of my coaches said, do it now, procrastinate later. And I was like, what?
yeah.
And then I was like, oh, gotcha. Because you don't know. That's the only thing that's guaranteed in life, but we can't control, to a certain extent, if you will.
Yeah, I mean the thing with that is as well is there's been so many more people just randomly dying lately of
Mm-hmm.
like myocarditis or whatever that whole
Right,
there's a
right,
whole conspiracy train involved with that shit, you know what I
right,
mean? But
right,
even then there's been people that are just and you go, what on earth is going on here? And it's just
right.
really, you know, you could just not
Yeah.
wake up in the morning. You just
Yeah.
never know
Right.
based upon nothing at all, and they'll go, "Yeah, just had a stroke in his sleep," and you go, "Fucking hell, that
Yeah.
was how it works." Jesus,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, that's why I've started to do shorts, by the way, because
Right.
it's if I'm not gonna, why am I'm spending too much time thinking
Yeah.
about it, and I might as well just do it. Fuck it, man.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
actually didn't want to do them to begin with. I was always against
Neither
them.
did I. Neither did I. It was
Yeah.
a transition. I started, maybe, like I said, I stopped my 1,000th video 6 weeks ago, and I
Oh,
started doing them maybe about
wow.
something. Yeah. Yeah. I have about 20 or
Fucking hell.
25 shorts. I just started. But that too, I was like, okay, I have 1,000 videos out now. That's awesome.
That's insane.
What do I need to do?
Congratulations on that. That's
Oh,
crazy.
thank you. Yeah,
It's
no,
crazy.
it's that work ethic, that discipline mentality. Somebody needs to hear something at that moment. And I was hesitant about stopping after 1,000 videos. I was just like, well, let me do it once a week. I asked and I created a poll to the community. They said, yeah, once a week or whatever. And then recently I was just like, I'm missing something. Something's not right. I felt off. And I realized, even though I was doing shorts or reels or videos that were maybe 5 minutes long, after I did the 6 videos that were over 8 minutes, I was just like, wait a minute, that's therapy for me. That's helping me talking to the audience, but also receiving it when I'm listening to it to publish it. And so it really puts into perspective, what is that's really the underlying thread. What is the legacy you're building for yourself that you want to leave for this world? Is everybody going to think that deep? No. But that was one of the things I learned from Matthew McConaughey. He's just like, write your own eulogy. And I was like, yo, that's pretty
That's
dark.
that's a great.
And then I was just like, that's kind of crazy. And then rest in peace, my friend, it was unexpected. And so I was, the partner was looking for somebody to read at the ceremony. So I knew I was going to be available because everybody else was working. So I took that initiative to do one of the readings. And I was just like, wow, I saw them about 2 weeks ago, and now they're no longer here. And it's kind of like, what is the impact or influence you want on the world? But even forget the world if you can't think that big, but your family, yourself. Look at your life back and be like, well, what did I contribute? What did I learn?
Yeah.
And like I said, it kind of goes by the wayside because, again, going back to what we said, people don't want to, some people either choose not to think or have the ability and strength to do so, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, I was a little bit ill, and then I
Mhm.
had some time off.
Right.
But it took so long to even give myself a kick in the ass. And to be quite honest, it weren't even really me. It was one
Hmm.
of my friends that did it. I was watching
Hmm.
him do stuff, and I was like, man, I'm not
Hmm.
doing shit. I'm not
Right.
doing anything. What am I contributing? And then, just speaking, talking. And then I'm like, fuck it, man. I've got to just get back doing it. I've got to do something. It took some motivation. It probably took me about 3 weeks worth of motivation for myself to go, right,
Yeah.
okay, and then we've got to do this, we've got to do that.
Right.
Bang, back. And now I'm regretting taking that extra bit of time off. Because it's
But
like,
you also have to see it. Did you need it? You went through a lot. Let's
uh,
be honest. You did went through a lot. You
I
did go
mean,
through
oh yeah, but to be honest, this was also, it's like you were saying yourself earlier, though.
Mhm.
When you're making the videos, you're getting stuff off your chest yourself, and
Right. Hmm.
that in itself, is a personal benefit.
Hmm.
It's almost, that's the same way. I was talking some of it was absolute nonsense and shit, but
Right.
it was some fun. At least it weren't up here, and it freed my brain up to do what else.
Exactly. Exactly.
But but to cut a long story short,
Hmm.
I genuinely am glad to be back on it. So
Yeah.
that's
Welcome
well.
back. It's awesome.
Thank you. It's it took a while. I'm
Hmm.
taking it a bit slower this time.
Right.
Also, because that's the other thing as well. I'm sure you appreciate this as well when doing it all as a one man team.
Yeah.
It is.
It's straight.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
can go just even then go back to the shorts. I can listen to maybe 4 or 5 minutes of myself, and then I go, "Oh, okay, an hour or so. I'm like, nah. It's
Yeah.
the prospect of it, but
Yeah.
we are slowly getting there, picking up heat, and yeah, got a lot coming. Also, I forgot to mention this at the start of the show. I'll do this now. plugging it midway. Got some great music coming up on the show as well.
Awesome.
Started to actually put more music into the show. I'm sure I might have mentioned it.
Awesome.
Maybe not.
No, that's awesome. That's gonna be great. What
Yeah,
style
yeah.
of music are you adding in?
I'm just looking for independent artists at the moment, and if I like it, I'm just going to put it in there. If people
Cool.
don't like it, they don't like it. Either
Turn
way,
it
it
off.
gives some.
Change the channel.
Yeah. Either way, it gives some of these little artists I like and just come
Yeah.
across more plays.
Yeah.
You
No,
know, because I
that's
go, it is what it is. Some of these songs, I go, man, why hasn't this got more fucking likes? What?
right.
This is a
Yeah.
really good band, and it's
Yeah.
most mainstream stuff nowadays is crap. It's not,
It's all technology. That's what it is.
yeah,
I like the organic, authentic stuff, That's what I like with a little bit of editing, every now and then a twinge of crescendo or auto tunes or, you know, some inserts, but that's what it's about. And music is the universal language, and it's something that you can relate to, where you can throw on something when you're angry, throw on something when you're happy, and it lightens the mood to it as well, and that really puts an added feature to
well, it
it.
can also set an atmosphere as
Yes,
well, because
absolutely.
we can have a positive conversation now, and I could set a bunch of spooky music over it. People would be like, "What the fuck is this?" Like, and
Yeah,
it make, you know, and it would make
absolutely.
no
It
real
wouldn't make any
sense.
sense.
It
Yeah,
wouldn't
they're
make
talking
sense,
about
but
deep conversation, but here's like chains rattling
yeah,
and ghost
yeah,
whispers. But yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that's what it is. It's we have to get back to a freedom of expression. I truly believe nowadays the reason why people are so uptight is because they're not comfortable in their own skin.
yeah,
And that is something that needs to be molded and learned and taught and mastered, let alone apply, because you don't know what's happening on the other side of the camera, on the other side of the phone, or in that person's situation. They present of a certain way,
oh
and you're
yeah,
like, oh wow, that person's awesome, they're having a great day. Fade to black, they're crying or angry or upset, and that's what I convey in my videos. Like, I remember when I first started out, they were like, you have to be professional and you have to stand stoic. I was like, that's not me, man. I tried it. I'm so not me. If you guys go back, check out the beginning videos, and I'm either not looking at the camera or I'm so stoic, like just
yeah,
talking right direct to the camera. I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna be me, whether I'm wearing a hoodie, where I'm wearing shades, where I'm wearing pajamas, if I'm in the rain, I'm in the snow. Look, what you see is what you get with me. There's no filter.
yeah,
Like the only editing that I really do in my videos is, if there's a soundbite of like a vehicle or a truck or something of that
of course,
nature, or if there is a huge delay and I'm like stuttering for whatever reason because I can't get the thought out. That's basically the minute, extent that I'll go to editing. And then I'll just put my website and my logo, on the
my
corner ends.
well, obviously the main show I would very rarely edit because I just go nah. But it's funny because cutting these minor promos,
Mm.
I can lay out a script and I'll go, yeah, okay, got it, yeah, cool, and then I'll go, yeah, welcome to the. And I go, oh fuck you know, and next thing, and I'm not kidding you. I think I've cut like 5 promos. One of them I nailed. I did today in one take. I was like,
Awesome.
just done it prior to this show, put it straight out there. Thought, fuck it, okay, I'm
Right.
happy with that.
Awesome.
Three prior, but then 40 takes, and
Wow.
I'm not kidding you. At one point, I
Wow.
was like, it was so simple as well, a small paragraph, but you know when you just lose yourself in the sentence
Mm-hmm.
and the words,
You're
or you'll get,
focusing on the words and the content rather than just speaking
yeah,
flowing. Yeah.
or occasionally I would almost hit a line of improv in it and I'd go, oh yeah, that sounds pretty good, okay, let's try it next time and we'll get it right. And then I was sat there and I was like, oh my god, this is taking forever. So I'll come, I went off, came back, and then I was like, okay, that'll just do.
Right.
I only realized it was 40 takes on one of them because
Wow.
I looked in the video folder because it's just record, stop, you know. you know. And I looked in there and I was like, shot them all to a folder just because I'm
Right.
gonna keep them. I'm gonna keep them as bloopers because that's
Yeah,
I can't
definitely.
look through them because I will just I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
But they're there. At some point in the future, I think they're going to go behind a paywall. Just me
There
fucking
you
up
go.
40, 50 times constantly. Like,
And that's what the people
that's
want
why I
to
don't edit.
see. People, they
Not,
don't
yeah,
want this scripted person who's reading a teleprompter. To be honest, that's what the news and that's what TV is
that,
nowadays. Like, I can even tell it. I was like, yo, come on. Like, I know there has to be some sort of professional format to speak or do a show and whatnot, but at the same
yeah.
token, if your eyes are just there and you're not even moving and you're like, yeah, and so he said what he said, I'm just like, I'm tapped
You're,
out,
the,
you
you're
know?
almost like the base model for AI at that point, you know?
Seriously,
Like,
right?
that's
It
one
just
of the
replaced me with
things.
a robot.
One of the things that annoys me, and this is what a little bit of a pet hate, is when you see these shorts and it's just this robotic Windows-esque voiceover, and you go, "Fucking hell! At least get something decent. What's this
Yeah,
shit? You
yeah,
know, why is it every video and you go, oh my god, this." As soon as I hear that, I go, I don't care what the information is. It can be the cure for cancer.
right.
I'm not interested. It's too much to listen to that one droning AI Windows 98 voice.
Yep, that
It's meant to,
monotone.
it's meant to
That
be
monotone.
AI as well.
Right.
That's the
Yeah,
best they've got. That
yeah,
monotone voice,
yep,
text to speech.
yep.
Don't
Text to
don't do
speech.
it.
No,
Don't do it.
no. I attempted to work on. I was like, let me see what all this hype is about, and it was good. The feedback and the content that I was good. I was like, but that's, I don't even. No human speaks like that. Like, come on, you know. I was just like, and I would like use it in email. I'm like, come on, I don't speak like that. You know what I mean? Let me phrase it my way because that's gonna be more authentic. And that's what I'm learning. Like that's one of the things. Not to go off the tangent, but again, it's in alignment with, oh, you don't have to think. Cars are driving for you now. Robots are making your drinks now.
Of course.
AI is going to do your college, thesis. Like, come on, what are we
We
doing? Are we just existing now? Is that
I've
a thing?
I've used it a little,
Yeah.
minor bits of cheating. I
Yeah.
used it for one write-up, and then I was like, actually, I even put at the bottom, I put dictated, not written, or some shit like
Uh-huh.
that. Because again, it's not me. And then
Right.
the second time, I was like, nah, I can't do it.
It
It,
just it
it just
doesn't feel right.
Yeah, I tried to get it in the style of myself for ages,
Right.
going, yeah, I'd like it like this, literally treating it as if I was talking to somebody, going, no,
Right.
take that out, do this, do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And it was just having none of it. It's not that fucking smart because it
Yeah.
couldn't understand me, a simpleton. So
Right.
it really couldn't. And I was making it simple, complex in terms of what I was writing down. You know,
Right.
weren't giving it the world's hefty amount of instructions.
Right.
You know, I was going, look, no, just and
But
then
if
in
you
the
think
end,
but if you think about it, if you're putting that much effort into dictating and
yeah,
telling, do it yourself. Because
that was one of my other.
like I was like, all right, this sounds good, sounds professional, but wait a minute.
It's
If I'm still working harder than this situation, I'm
there's
working
this.
harder, not smarter. Let me just write
I,
it myself.
I was working harder than the computer, going, fucking,
Exactly, right?
come on, get it right. This is the sentence I want. Type in the actual sentence in. That's what I thought about after. I goes, this is bullshit. Why won't you just?
Yes.
I
Yes.
gave up on it the second time round. I thought,
Yeah.
not a chance.
Yeah,
You ain't
I
catching.
worked it
You're not
twice. Yeah.
catching me out. No, you're not.
Yeah.
It is almost like it's trying to catch you out in itself to
Yeah.
make you rely on it. Going, yep, I'm more professional than you.
Yeah.
Going, no.
But what I don't understand, again, this is logic, pardon me, but if you submit such content as that, here's my Andrea question. And somebody says, all right, I want you to go live. I want you to speak. I want you to teach. I want you to demonstrate. You better have your ducks in a row to meet that AI description. You know what I'm saying? Like I know people that it'll write a story from me, it'll tell a joke, or it'll bright music. Well, I love Millie and Vanilli, but that's what you're doing, guys. You're having somebody else write something, not even a human write something. And then when they say, okay, Tim, come in for an interview, or Tim,
Yeah.
come in, I want to see your podcast. And you don't meet that. I mean, I don't know.
I
It just blows my
the
mind.
the way I tested it out was my CV curriculum vitae is really old.
Okay.
And I thought, well, let's just give it a whirl, run it through there and see what it does. And the first thing I said was basically just, can you take this out
Mhm.
and just add in a little bit about what I've done more recently?
Right.
And it pretty much nailed that. And I was like, okay, that's pretty good. And that's sort of what roped me into it, was that one, and it changed all my format, made it look beautiful. And I was like, okay, that's pretty cool.
Right.
It didn't really change any of my qualifications as such, but if I really set it to the task and I never
Right.
proofread that, I mean,
Right.
that's the thing. If I never proofread it as well, and I was like, oh wow, that looks cool,
Yeah.
and just flew it out there into the world, and then people go, oh yeah, you're a systems analyst. And I go, wait, what? I
What?
must fuck. Yeah, you worked for science. I go, wait a fucking minute.
Yeah.
You know what I
Wait.
mean? It's
You sure
at
you got
one,
the right resume?
yeah. At what point though is it also like plagiarizing or breaking
Right. Right.
copyrights?
Yes.
Because it's obviously it's everybody else's. A lot of people are also using it. So, did that spit out something that it's gave to someone else, and
Right.
they go, wow, that's great, thanks very much, AI.
Yeah.
Again, I
And
said
then the
thank,
hiring manager
yeah,
says, wait a minute, I use that for my profile.
yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
know, like that would be
That's how,
embarrassing.
that's how I got my job. You cheating
Yeah,
cunt.
exactly. And that's the thing is
Great. Never
it's
thought about
crazy because there was one video, actually I believe it was a short, it was a reel. y- I can't even, maybe about a year or two ago, I did a video talking about children, right? And I was in a playground and I was swinging on a tire swing. And I said, children, it was something like, you're an inspiration for the children. Well, because I didn't proofread the text, it says urine, like going to the bathroom. And I will never forget my friends told me years after, and they were like, yeah, that video, you might want to go back and fix that. Obviously, I can't fix it now because it was 2 years ago, but the
it.
caption actually writes that. I was just like, oh, that's not good,
No,
you
man.
know? But that's what I'm saying. Like, and that's what I'm saying. Like, you don't have, there are some individuals out there that are like us and that are not like us and just be like, yeah, cool, cool, submit it, submit it, submit it. And you're just like, yo, you got to be careful what you're submitting, you
Zero,
know?
zero oversight whatsoever.
Right.
That's a good one though. You with
I
the
was just,
yours like,
and what's so worse, Tim? I was on a children's playground, and I'm saying that I'm like, this is great. I was like, y'all didn't tell me this at the moment. Well, we felt bad, we were embarrassed, we didn't want you to get. I said, embarrassed.
wow,
That's on like social media all over, and I was
oh
just
my
like, I
god,
can't even go back and. It was over 2 years ago. I can't even go back and fix it. And if I did, I'd have to like bind it
yeah,
to
it's
thousand. I mean, I have 1,000 videos, thousand
stuff like
six now or
that.
something like, you know,
It,
but you got to be careful. I was innocent, but the computer doesn't know that. And with, and especially with people with accents or talk fast or what have you, you know what I mean? When they do the closed captions now, it's
I,
crazy.
I can't even imagine what it picks up for whatever mine is.
Right.
Sometimes as well, I try not to swear as much because it
Right.
doesn't
You're
pick
doing
any up.
great. I'll remember the
I'm
first one. I'll remember the
Oh
first
my
show.
god,
Ladies
I
and gentlemen, check out our
swear a
first show.
lot. It's so tricky.
Yeah.
It's mad to put to practice just because of children and stuff like that.
Right.
But when I'm out here, it's the world's the oyster in terms of that. But
Right.
it's just bad practice, and I don't want to slip up. And I'm trying.
Yeah.
It's the 2023 thing that ever. I mean, it's the context as well that
Yeah.
that's something else. I'm getting older, I'm maturing. I'm going, nah, it's all context.
Right.
if you annoy me, I'll swear at people. To be honest, that's the best way. that's that's most of the time
That's
when
how you
anything.
know.
That's when it comes out. It's like, "Ah,"
Yeah.
or if I, nah, to be honest, it's mostly. I keep try and keep it out. It's just it just really
It's
just
not
depends on the
easy. It's not
it.
easy, you know. I mean, I stopped a long time ago and everybody's like, "Okay, who are you and where did you go?" Cuz like I had a truck driver's mouth. I had well no I had a bad mouth.
I know what you mean.
You know, cuz
I think
you
that
know. No
stereotype's
no
okay. I think that's a
difficulties
good one.
to truck
Yeah.
drivers out there now that we're in 2023, but you know, I
I
used a lot of verbiage out there that
yeah,
wasn't, you know, it was more emotional words as opposed to derogatory or derivatives, you know what I mean? So and especially when I got sick, I was very very particular. It just put a whole new concept on my life, you know, using certain words. There be certain words that you will that I don't ever use, and people are like, it's just that, and you know, I like, well, why wouldn't you say that? Because of the meaning or how I relate to it, it just doesn't suit me, you know,
of course.
because it's difficult, you know,
I
to
mean,
change.
I don't think any of the truckers are going to come for you though. I think you might be. I don't think they're going to cancel anybody. What
No,
people are getting
my
cancelled
family
for now?
members. There's a
Yeah.
lot of truck drivers in my family, so you
I
know,
think it'd be
apple doesn't fall for the tree.
I think it'd be a great job. I
Yeah,
mean,
no.
I've
Well,
always
I think it would be the U-haulers, the ones that have the 18 wheelers. That's a
yeah
lot, you know, driving all night. I remember doing that with the family, and I remember doing that when I was traveling. You need to be on your game because that road can just be delusional in itself. If there's nobody on the road and you're driving at night, you know, it takes a toll on people because I never really understood. I'm like, oh, that's the easiest job in the world. All you do is just drive trucks and deliver and travel the world. You get to wake up with a new sunrise everywhere. And then when I actually started to talk to truck drivers, they're just like, yeah, it's not that great. You sleep in the, you know, if you sleep in the cabin or if you're lucky, you have a bed, a cot in the back of the truck,
yeah.
but it's a really lonely lifestyle. You know, you have the CB to toss out the truck drivers, but you're on the road all the time, you know.
That's the only thing that really attracts like me is that CB. You know, it's kind of like a it's almost like a cultish thing in itself. You know, like
I
a
would love
CB
to.
open radio.
It's funny you mentioned that because I love cars. For those car gurus out there, I'm a cars girl. Go hard. You know, my favorite is the Monte Carlo. I love the Jaguar
Oh wow.
SE. Oh my gosh, I go to at any cost. If there's a car show, truck show, plane show, let me know and I will be there. I love cars. I just grew up all the mechanics of it and everything. And it was funny you mentioned that because I'm dating myself. But remember Knight Rider?
Yeah,
And
of
Kit
course.
talked to him. I was like, all right, I don't need the car to talk to me because we'll probably get into an argument. But if I had a CB and I could just channel the license plate of people around me, oh man, it would be awesome. It'd be so awesome.
I mean, I don't drive, but Monte Carlos are a great looking car. They're just
Yeah, so
there's something about a Monte Carlo that it's just got a
mhm.
certain style to it, and
It's on that precipice of like
Mm.
chic, but also like I don't know, distinguished. You know what I mean? It's not a race car where it's like
yeah,
flashy, but it's not also like, you know, a sedan. It's got class. It's a classy car. And when I went to one of the car shows and this guy like gutted it and redid it. It was black, red pinstripe, red velvet in, and all
wow.
the gears. I was just like, I fell in love. And he's like, do you want to sit in? I was like, yeah, of course. Oh my gosh, I was in my glory. But yeah, you know, but that's funny you mentioned, yeah, I would like a CB. I was like, yeah, that's the fun part. That would be fun, you know, talking to people.
There used to be it was called like ham radio. It's like I think it was that or no C was it CB radio was the American. They had
Right.
something in the UK. I can't remember what it was called now. Where
Oh,
I mean, tons of people have them. You can still see them occasionally, like big,
oh, wow.
massive antennas.
Oh wow.
And it's like I don't know what it's called now. It used to be really, really popular years and years and years ago. Probably not so much now, but it's almost that same sort of trucker vibe thing
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
where you
With the
just be on,
cord and just knock on the
yeah, you
phone.
just be on a radio. And
That's
I
awesome.
always thought about doing that, and I thought,
Yeah,
huh, I
that's
wonder if
awesome.
I thought I
Now you
might
just
just.
take out your phone, put it in the
I know,
plunge
yeah.
and just do it that way. I mean, I remember on long road trips, I'd watch, either a movie or YouTube as a passenger, just driving down to wherever we were. It's awesome now. But just the fact that with the truckers, you just punch in a code and you could get to whatever vehicle you're talking to. And hey, man, how I just think it was a cool feature. It was just awesome. Yeah.
During the digital age, it's such a cool
Yeah.
thing. I mean, this is the other thing as well, is that's like a really good community in itself.
Right.
The,
Right.
the trucker community, they look
Yeah.
out for. I mean, when all that shit was going on in Canada with the truckers
Oh,
strike, whenever
yeah.
it was,
That was crazy.
I mean,
Yeah.
shit, we also have it in parts of Europe as well, with all
Hmm.
the I can't remember what it was to do with now, but there was just all these truckers were just going absolutely mad. There was a video that I watched, and the whole road was just
Close.
I can't remember if because of like people were just trying to hijack the truckers or something,
Yeah. Yeah.
but there was just absolute carnage, like Mad Max.
Wow.
Literally,
Wow.
these truckers were just throwing fucking petrol out the windows and shit.
Wow.
It was crazy, but
Wow.
all of them sticking together just because of I can't
Yeah,
remember what
back
it
each
was.
other's up. It was a community, like you said, a family. Like, look, man, this is our lifestyle, That's my brother, that's my sister, like we're all gonna support each other. And that's going back to what we said in the beginning of the show. Why can't we just see each other as humans, as
I know.
humanitarian vibe? Because if we look at it, there's a lot more community if we go about that route to supersede of the people who are in control, you know and it's just about leadership. I think what the leaders need to remind themselves, why did you get in this position in the first place, and where did you come from? Because when you're able to ask those two questions, whether you're a father, whether you're a businessman or woman, whether you're a caregiver, a teacher, whatever it is, whatever stage, why did you go? What is making you choose this path? What is the experience? What was that experience that said, hey, you know what? I want to do a podcast. You know what? I want to speak. You know what? I want to do comedy. You know what? I want to be a teacher. When you get to that root cause of what your intention and mission is, that's when the opportunities and the barriers are going to be blasted, because then you're like looking at it from a whole different perspective, you know
Well, I mean, it's one of the only problems is it's like kids nowadays. It's just chasing the fame, and they all want to be influencers, content creators. It's crazy doing that ourselves, but we're
right, but
uh,
it's like,
I've,
what is their reasoning for it?
yeah, I've had like a prior life to doing this, not just
Right. Yeah, we're
But no, go
going
on, sorry,
into it
carry on.
from the difference is we're in this industry based off of our experience. They're going into the industry without
Yeah,
experience.
based off merit
Like,
than just
right. Oh, I can, be recognized or what have you. Again, it goes all back to what is your vision, mission, and legacy you're building. And, you know, one of the biggest concerns that I have is that people yearn for instant and immediate gratification and satisfaction, but you've
yeah.
heard it before, as quick as you receive it is as quick as it can be gone. You know what I mean? And that's why individuals such as ourselves, we take our time. It takes time. And then if we burn ourselves at both ends, we go on break and then come back.
Yeah.
If you're going in with it with the wrong mentality, it could really backfire and have rippling effects, not only in the present moment, but in the future going forward.
just going back a couple of seconds, it's some of the content creators that it can be taken away. Some of them had like 100K views over a certain period. Now they're clocking like 4.5,
Mm-hmm.
which if it's still a significant amount, 4.5 in its own right, but that decline of almost 95% is
Mm-hmm.
like, that's where you go, that's a significant amount, 95%.
Right.
And it's like these people as well have like big incomes for years, living massive lives, and then boom, all of a sudden they become irrelevant
Right.
for reasons that they don't even know most of the time.
Right.
They
Yeah.
don't. They and this is something that the kids are going to struggle with later on in life, because there's nothing that they can back up on. They can't
Yeah.
go, oh, I've got no fallback.
Right. Right. Absolutely. And that's where, when I speak with families, I'm like, well, is your child earning electronic time? Is your child earning an allowance? Is your
Yeah,
child earning discipline, rewards? What? And they look at me like I have five heads. I'm like, this is not your friend. Do not allow your child to dictate your life. You're the authoritative
yep,
adult figure. You're the coach. You're the leader. You're the first eyes that they set on. And lead by example as opposed to lead by lecture, because they're going to find it one day that you're not aware of what you're doing. They'll say, well, mom and dad or the people that are caring for me aren't doing it, so why should I care? And there's no preparation at hand, planning and organizing as different opportunities. I mean, I remember my parents saying, well, what do if this doesn't work out, do you have another option? And they weren't happy. I shouldn't say they weren't happy. They were concerned because I didn't have alternative routes if something went south. And I had to learn the hard way, because at one point I was like, yo, I'm going to be an athlete. And then at the peak of my career, I end up getting, surgeries on both my knees, and that was done, aside from other things. And I was just like, well, that stinks. So now that identity has been squashed.
of
And
course,
that's what I fear for the generations coming up. Oh, I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to be, a singer. Well, it takes work. And this is one of the things that I really hold true with, working with families and children, even in, the coaches or schools that I do get into. I said, you know what? Do the route of schooling. After you do come home from your homework and doing your homework, if you choose to do your homework, really take a deep dive and do some volunteer or apprentice or internship work in what you want to do. Why? Because you'll see the good, the bad, and the ugly firsthand. And I'll never forget when I did an apprenticeship and my internship for social work after high school and psychology. And I was just like, so this is what it's about. Wow. And I was just like, yo, I'm all game. I'm all in. But a lot of people don't do that. They either go from school to college, college to furthering their education, then a job, or they go school, college, job, or school, job. And there's no room for really understanding their craft or what they want to do. And I think that what needs to be brought back into, forget school education, even education at home. Hey, does uncle does construction. Yeah, I want to do the construction. Cool. On a Saturday or Sunday, why don't you spend a day with them and see what it's like if you really like it? Not only it's a win-win all around. Number one,
of
it's
course,
a win situation for the child to see if they're really into it, if it's really what they thought it would be. Number two, could be a life-saving investment if the child changes direction, even for the child, because the parents can only fund so much, and then the child's responsible. And it's also really opening the opportunity. Okay, maybe I don't want to be on the front line of construction, but hey, maybe I could be, a lift worker, or I could be the management of the field work, And that's what I attend, because we've been so ingrained, school, high school, school, middle school, high school, college, master's, and career, or at least something in that sequence.
Yeah, yeah.
And nobody talks, which I was really shocked of over the past years, about trade school. There was always like a negative connotation, and I'm just like, well, if
The
it's
real
still
life
schooling,
skill.
but it's real life skill, trade school. Hey, if you want to be a mechanic, you got to know the ins and outs of the car and the carburetor
Yeah.
and the muffler and how it works and the crankshaft and all that. You know what I mean? You can't just read it from a book and then watch somebody. Yeah, it's good. You know, get your hands really deep in the craft to know if it's really something you choose, rather than investing time, investing your health, investing money, and then realizing, yeah, no, I'm not really for this, you know?
Well, one of the hot topics in the UK at the moment is all these people that are going to universities and basically doing these useless studies that you can't apply to any real life job. You can't apply it to any. There's no life skills. You can't apply it to a job at all.
Right.
So they're trying to cut back funding for stuff like that,
Wow.
and it's really, it's
Yeah.
stuff that you don't need it. It's useless.
Yeah.
One of the examples was hand embroidery for a university course, which is
Right.
it's a hobby for a start.
At a fashion like university, that's what it should be, or something of that nature, you know?
It was I can't remember which. It was in the UK, the university.
Mhm.
Can't remember which one it was specifically.
But I
But
mean,
when
was it
I
a liberal arts school or was it like a business school?
no, it was like a full on university where you could go and
Wow.
be a doctor, you could
Okay.
do whatever.
Gotcha.
But the fact is, nobody's doing hand embroidery anyway. The machines are doing all of that. They've done that
Right.
for.
And if you
I
are doing
mean,
it, then you better have a huge price tag, because that's going to be the best embroidering you do, you know?
and I mean, you've got to be. I can't. The thing is, it's a really, really fine skill. So you've either got to be the best at it,
Right.
or you've just wasted X amount of grants on a course
Yeah.
that you're going to flap out on, and for what?
Right.
You to try your dab hand at a bit of embroidery? It's
Right. Right.
kind
And
of
that's
stupid.
And that's what I said. I used to joke with people. I said, why don't we do preschool to like maybe first grade social skills? Everybody plays, you know, you have fun. First grade to third grade, maybe learn how to share, maybe learn how to write and learn the alphabets. Then, you know, fourth grade to sixth grade, let's do some work, you know, let's start the math there, if you will, you know, in the language. Then middle school should be, I mean, I remember way back when you should be, I mean, some schools do it here in the States, but you should learn how to balance a checkbook,
Yeah.
learn how to write a check, learn how to, you know, really about finances, learn about credit cards. And then
Mm.
the ADLs, the acts of daily living, you know, interpersonal skills, talking with people eye to eye, staying focused and on topic. Let's also incorporate, you know, how to grocery shop, how to maintain a home or apartment. Let's figure out, you know, just like simple things like how to do laundry, how to, you know, figure out planning an organization of an event, you know, if you will. Actual things that you apply in the real world. Because let's be honest, we have said this, and so many people have said this, the educational system is outdated.
Yeah.
Like we said about an, you know, beginning of the show, these kids, all you type in how to make soup or how to do this, it's all at their fingertips. You know, what are the fundamental skills? I mean, I can't tell you how many times within the past week I was actually out and about, and I would talk to some individuals and I'm like, yo, where are you looking? I'm right here. Why are you distracted on it? Or they're looking at their phones, or they're kind of confused or nervous. I'm like, I'm just having a conversation with you. And if you go into stores now, you know, everything is, oh, use this kiosk or use this computer. And I'm just like, well, why are we even,
Scan and go is like.
yeah. Yeah, now we're self checkout. Am I getting like an employee discount because now I'm an employee for the store checking myself out? You know what I mean? It's really lost by the wayside of the way certain areas of technology has enabled us and disabled us, where we have to figure out, hey, I can think on my own. Let me learn the processes of doing something. And like we said before, the clinical and analytical and critical thinking has to come back. how to shake a hand, a firm handshake when you're talking to someone, how to stay on topic, how to not have a mental breakdown if your phone is not in front of you. Like, what can you do? I've had some of the, journey walkers that I've had. I said, put your phone in the other room, put a timer on, and do it for 10 minutes. I can't tell you how many couldn't even go 1 minute, 3 minutes. I'm like, this is an addiction. This is a problem. And if
That's
you don't
insane.
catch it now, what is your future
I
like?
Lately, I don't even have any. Well, my phone is all the way over here,
Right,
miles out. You wouldn't even. Doesn't even. Literally,
right.
I
Yeah,
barely even use my phone anymore. The only things
yeah,
I use my actual phone for is phone calls.
right.
All
Yeah,
of my social media is right in front of me because it would. It's one of the other good things of.
controls you.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
saying that, it's tricky because I don't have any socials, but I will listen to shit all day. So
Right,
it's a give or take, but at least I'm not watching shorts all day or whatever. It's at least I'm
right.
listening to some long form or
Yeah,
something that I'm moderately interested in. But
yeah.
that's what I don't understand about people lately is the whole world of information's out there. You could spend all day listening and learning more information about anything,
Yeah,
whatever you wanted to.
right.
And the attention span is just on so much crap,
Yeah.
you know. And it is majority of it is just one of the. Again, I've recently gone to TikTok, like I was saying, and one of the things that I see, and I see it everywhere anyway,
Mhm.
is people that adults pretending to be children and reenacting scenarios in short. So the
Uh,
playing two characters and
right.
going, "Yeah, I'm doing this," and then it switches back, and it's like, "What the?" And it
Yeah.
gets like 100K, and I'm like, "Who's watching this shit?" Because it's not
And
even. If
it's
it
not
was
even
put,
beneficial.
it's
Yeah.
not, but it's because it's almost like that. It's not even a life lesson because it's a scenario. It's a bog standard scenario
Right.
that plays out in a ridiculous way that would never occur in normal society. You
Right.
know, like, oh yeah, I would. I'm not even going to give any examples because I'll be doing it
Right.
myself. That would
Right.
be fully against. I'd have to burn this whole place to the ground if I did that. I wouldn't. Yeah, I
Right.
wouldn't live with it. I'd go to bed tonight going, "What the fuck did I just do?"
Right.
I'd go, "I can't publish the data. I'm just going to burn it all." But
Yeah.
no, it's like I don't understand who's watching it for a start.
Right.
It's because there's not even any humor to it. There's no beneficialness. It's not even humorous. It's
Right.
some
Right.
really half cheesy, non-funny.
It's like America's funniest film videos or like Europeans' funniest videos. That's what it's kind of like.
That's actually better. That's
Yeah,
what's
well,
so
that's true. Yeah.
bad. That's
Yeah. Yeah.
literally better than the content that you see that is it's pure. It's not even trash because you can make something good out of garbage. You
Yeah.
can't make anything out of it. You can't gain anything. It's just
Yeah.
pure
Is it
nonsense.
helping you or just, it's entertainment. Let's put it that way.
Ah,
If it
it
is
is
to
pure entertainment.
somebody's entertainment,
Some for
maybe not
some,
ours, but
yeah,
someone is entertaining.
to a hundred
I
thousand
mean,
people it is.
I don't
That's
know
the
why
horrible.
100,000 people want to watch a cat punch a stuffed animal for 30 seconds. That's crazy for me, but to each his own. I remember when I started doing reels, and everybody's like, "You got to do reels." I was like, "I don't even know what a reel is. What is this?" And
I
they're like,
know. I
"Oh,
don't
it's
know.
this, et cetera, et cetera." I was like, "Okay." I remember the first reel I did. I was so excited. I put something on that I did at a show and on TV, and I took the soundtrack bite that I was allowed to use, and I jumped in the air. And it was like that's all it was. I'm not even joking. It was like one of my first reels on Instagram, and it like hit like 1K or something or 400 or something ridiculous. And so I was like, all right, that's cool. Then I started doing real stuff like, hey, have you ever felt lost or stranded? Boom, that would go like 10 views. And I'm like, okay, what's happening? And then I was just kind of going through the motions. And I was sitting with my boy the other night and I was just like, this is crazy. The videos that got the most views was me being stupid, either dancing or
Stupid.
jumping in the air. But the serious content that could really change people's lives in 30 seconds or 15 seconds is like a low count. But what I realized is not to fall in the trap of the count. It's somebody watched it regardless. And it's not about a popularity. That's the one thing that I can say for myself
Of course, yeah.
separates me from others. They want to see how many likes. I'll focus on the likes because those are my supporters. Those are my fans, whether they liked it because they liked the top I was wearing or the shoes or, hey, she's wearing a hoodie in the rain. What's she doing? I want to appreciate because of them, I'm here.
Of course,
But
yeah.
at the same token, I also want to be respected. Hey, I want to change your life to enhance it. I want to be the person that, hey, when I ask you how you are, when I text you, when I recognize you on a post, that's me. That's not
Of
a
course.
bot. That's not somebody just saying, oh, thank you. No, I'm
Yeah.
saying, hey, thanks for your time. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for the like. I really appreciate it. And that is the message I want to convey. Look, what you see is what you get on and off camera. And that's what we need. I want more of the genuinity,
That's
the
what I was going to say,
humanitarian
genuineness, yeah.
because I could say I can't tell you how many people, how you doing? And I'm like, yeah, well, and then they interrupt or just say, okay, great, that's good. My family's good too. And I was like, I didn't even finish my sentence, but you really obviously don't care how I'm doing. So that's cool. Whatever, to each his own. But I really do. When I do social media, I dedicate time looking on my page, seeing how people are doing, and I'll reach out. Hey man, how you doing? I know you were in an accident. How's your family? How are you feeling? And that's just who I am. And I remember when I started doing that in the beginning, and I'll never forget, the individual was just like, well, when you make it big, are you going to answer all of your people? I said, first of all, I don't know where this is taking
What
me.
a weird loaded question.
Right.
That's
And I was just like, so I said, well, I don't know where this career is going to take me, but I will reach everyone eventually. I will make sure I connect with them or appreciate them or give them a thumbs up if they've commented, because that was the game changer in my life for those journey walkers in my journey, because they did care. They weren't just what's in it for me or what have you. Let me leech off or let me sabotage her situation.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, there's always going to be people like that, and they're
Oh, yeah.
really hard to. They're kind of hard to avoid in a way.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never really experienced one yet. Someone that's not really a leecher. I mean, the problem is, like I said earlier on, is I'll happily just play people's music on my show.
Right.
At some point, that could go extremely sideways.
Right. Yeah.
Which
Absolutely.
kind of. I mean, again, I'm making sure I get full permission for that, because
Yeah.
it's just like I said, it's having covering all the bases and whatever. But there's lost my train of thought then.
No, you're saying that you didn't have a lot of
but
people, naysayers, or people who were leeches or copycats on your end that were negative on your experience thus far. That's what you were talking about.
yeah. Sorry, so I thought I knocked my cable out then. That's why I got
No
a
worries.
bit panicky. Let me just put that back over there. There we go.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
But no, it's it's such a weird thing, because they're going to turn up in any industry. It doesn't matter what you do. Even if you're working in an office, there's always someone that's trying to get ahead. There's always someone that, I mean, even then, I've worked in a warehouse and had people that have tried to screw me over.
Mhm.
And it's
Yeah.
like, fucking, what's the point, mate? We're on the same,
Yeah.
we're on the same wage, to be
Yeah.
quite honest.
Exactly.
We're not going to get anywhere. It's
Right.
not going to make any difference to anybody.
Right.
And that's it, you get it in this industry, but it's just navigating it, really, isn't it? And
Yeah.
I think some people have those skills, some people don't. There's been a few big podcasters lately
Right.
that have been taken down. I think it was Theo Von's podcast. I don't know if you know who that guy is, a comedian. There's him and there's another guy called. There's multiple people, but the only two that I know of, and there's a guy called Jim Cornette who does like
That
a.
sounds
He's like a.
familiar.
He does wrestling podcast,
Okay.
and they basically worked had their stuff under a different company
Mm.
and got really screwed. I mean, seven figures,
Oh
a
wow.
lot of money. And you go, Jesus, even in that industry, and I mean, one of them as well, Jim Cornette seems like a really ruthless guy.
Hmm.
He used to work for the WWE. He's been, I mean, fuck me. I used to watch wrestlers as a kid. Imagine dealing with like Vince McMahon, who's one of the biggest
Yeah.
businessmen. If you've dealt with him, how do you get screwed by
Right.
some, media company?
Yeah.
But there's always leeches, even in this industry, to the point where once you start signing those contracts,
Mm-hmm.
it can fucking really go sour and
Yeah.
south, even for the
Yeah.
biggest of people. It's so crazy.
Absolutely. I've been told so many times, be careful, make sure you read or don't sign anything, And that's another reason why, I have now turned a new leaf that, you know what? And this is another quote that I have learned over since we've last connected. Dreams don't have deadlines, they create destinations. So what I feel is, hey, this person may have performed here or been on this podcast or this TV show, but when they approached me, it just didn't align with what I wanted.
Got you.
But I'm not going to sacrifice my authenticity and integrity for that. And we see that a lot. And I know recently they see that in movies and entertainment. Hey, you're the mean character. So let's give you all mean roles. And then, hey, well, here's an opportunity to do something else. And you're like, yeah, but you're probably not going to make that much because this is what you're known for. But if you want to try it, it's not easy. And so that's why I really say up front, hey, we can have a connection. All in all is good. But I'm going to be bold enough and brave enough. And if we disagree, I'm going to agree to disagree and walk away. No hard feelings, just business. If it doesn't align with me, I'm not going to do it. And I'm okay with that. But I know for a lot of people, it's difficult. They see the dollars and cents, or they see the exposure, they see the fame. Going back to what we were talking about with the kids wanting to do an influencer or a content creator or YouTube, it's not that easy. It's
No,
really not, and you just have to really know who you are, what your identity is, your character, to be secure. You know what? Yeah, that pays that much, but I'm not willing to jeopardize who I am. And that could be difficult for some people, you know?
it can. I mean, this is why I enjoy speaking to yourself, because that was,
Yeah.
again, everything that you've said is always 100% genuine.
Yeah.
You cut straight through the points,
Yeah.
and it is inspirational and motivational.
Thank
There's
you.
nothing. No, honestly, this is why another reason why I enjoy podcasting. I don't just do it for the likes. Again, you just look at
Right.
them; they're great,
Yeah.
but it's to have these conversations where it gives you time to think about stuff, reflect on stuff. Even it's been a couple of years since our conversation.
Yeah.
Huge progression and development in yourself,
Thank you.
even
You as
during
well.
and
Yeah.
like, we're getting there. We're getting there slowly. We're getting there. That's about as much as I've done so far as my hair. That's it. And a couple of overlays.
I didn't recognize you at first, to be honest. I was like, whoa, who?
There's that much of a change.
Yeah.
The change is too much. It's too
Yeah.
much. To be honest, this is just a bit of too much of a light. That's what the shades. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
Jesus
No, I hear you.
burning my eyes out. I need to get more lights and sort them all out.
Yeah.
But it's
But a lot of people don't have that ability. This was growing pains for me. When I entered this industry, I was saying, yeah, 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 let me do this, let me do this, let me do this. And finally someone spoke reality to me and was just like, hey, I see where you're going. You
yeah,
don't
yeah,
see this, but just remember this, if you don't align with it in your heart, then it's not worth it, regardless of the figure,
Of
regardless of the
course.
exposure. And so, people are going to, spit shade. That's fine. But I know I can go to sleep every night. Hey, you know what? Granted, that was that amount, that was that offer, but are they going to respect my content? Are they going to respect me as an artist? And or are they just going to cut slices and spits and edits and everything? And then next thing you know, I'm on a reel saying, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, no,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
no. You know what I mean? So I'm very particular with, and I learned that the hard way.
But it's your
I had
value
an
and your worth
experience.
as well. You
Yeah, I
know?
mean, I'm not doing, and that's what I tell people. Look, I'm going to speak from my personal experience. I worked for corporations and, elites and whatnot for over 2 decades. This is my own. This is me. And what was difficult was that I was going into it. All right, I'm going to be a businesswoman, going to be an entrepreneur. It's going to be good. It's going to be fun. Yeah. But truth be told, I'm putting in more hours
Than a normal job.
than
Yeah.
a normal job. I'm like, oh man, 40 hours and then, a 2 hour commute on bookends. This is ridiculous. And I come home and crash. Dog,
Yeah.
I'm up at like an early time to evening until when my family comes home, boom, I still have to be pried away from the camera or
Of
media
course.
of
It's,
networking. Hey, we're here. It's our time. You know what I'm saying? And so for the listeners out there, do what you love. But this is a paraphrase quote from my mentor, Dr. Les Brown. Do something you love every day, even if you didn't get paid for it. And I didn't understand it at the time when he was coaching, and I was like, what? Why wouldn't I get paid? Like, what do you talk about? He's like, do something you love every day that you don't need to get paid, but people want to pay you for it. And that's
good.
what I do. I didn't expect to be where I was in such a short period of time. And I'm going to celebrate a little bit because I did put the work
Yeah,
in,
you've earned it. Of course.
and for me, that's really hard because of my experience with, my perspective of myself, not my perception, because I was always comparing myself to my parents. They were elite bankers. Boom.
Right,
They
okay.
were able. And so I was just like, all right, I gotta grind. I gotta grind. But as I was grinding, it was never recognized. It was never appreciative. So when I had to bring that order in or I had to finish that deadline, and they'd be like, Andrea, yeah, let's do this. Here you go, sir. Here you go, ma'am. And they're like, okay, here's the next task. And they just kept feeding tasks. So I never, in my personal way, celebrated, yo, you got that done ahead of time. And so now being my own business, like I said this on another show, I was just like, or I think I said it earlier today too. I was just like, all right, my own business, cool. Hey, what do I have to? Oh wait, no, I'm the boss. Well, what do And then so you're cross-checking yourself. You have your ego and you have that reel of your childhood constantly saying, man, get over it. You didn't do that. It's all good. Then you have your heart saying, yo, take a second. Did you not see what you did in the past
Yeah,
X
yeah.
amount of years? And it wasn't, truth be told, and to be honest, it wasn't until I started having to submit my portfolio or my profile to people in certain industries. And they're like, wait, how long you been doing this? And you did that much? And that's when I had to say, my heart was just like, take a second. Man, freaking celebrate. Don't stop right now. Michael Jordan says, he said his mentor, Mr. Fisk, his teacher, he said, you know, let me get it right. And I'm gonna always say I'm gonna paraphrase it in case I get it wrong. But Michael Jordan said his teacher, Mr. Fisk, said, celebrate at the end, not in the middle. But for me, based on my history, I have to kind of do that cross check. Yo, Stop for a second. Just stop grinding because you're going to burn out.
Yeah.
Look at what you did. Appreciate what you did. Just take that in for at least 3 to 5 seconds and then keep going. And that was a hard pill for me to swallow, because I was just like, I'm coaching, I'm speaking, here and there, and I'm not embracing the journey. I'm not being in the present.
Is that
And
just because
that's
it was
being
so?
difficult.
Is
That
it
was
just
like
because it's so
hypocritical.
full on as well?
Yeah. Well, that too, because it was just boom, boom, boom. And then I set goals for myself for the quarters of the years.
Mhm.
And then here I am, and I'm like, wow, I already did that already? Oh my gosh, I did meet that goal or what have you. But like, I don't want to be hypocritical of what I preach or coach or speak of. Because I say, hey man, life is like that. We talked about it before. It could be gone tomorrow, here today, gone tomorrow. And so what I had to do was take that 3 to second, and I have a good support system to say, yeah, wait, stop for a second. Good job. I want you to say good job to yourself. And I would always feel uncomfortable. And man, I'm just working. I'm just doing. And like, no. Recognize your work, because that's the work ethic that's gotten you to where you are now. And I want that to be another message that I convey. Look, Michael Jordan was right, celebrate at the end, not in the middle. But at the same token, give yourself some grace, give yourself
Of
some
course.
recognition. Because if you're not, you're robotic and you're not applying what you've mastered. You know what I mean?
Of course. I mean, I tend to celebrate a little bit in the middle. Just it
Right.
just, I mean, maybe a little bit too much at times, but it's very selective.
Yeah.
It's weird to say, party after you're done at the end, because
Yeah.
again, that he said that could be any given moment.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah.
I would love to have. I mean, imagine if you just lived a clean life, 70 years, you retire. I think it's
Mm-hmm.
75 now in the UK.
Yeah.
And then fully clean, you go, right, I'll tell you what, grafted my whole life. Let's just have a bit of fun now.
Mm-hmm.
And and it all ends.
Yep.
Like, that would kind of really suck in a way, because you've missed out on half of the ride,
Right.
and it gets a little bit bumpy, it gets a little bit off the brakes at points, but
Right.
it's just keeping that ride on the track and just keeping the wheels flowing and turning, keeping the shit smooth without it being a bit too manic.
And I love
I've
you said
done
that,
myself.
because I love that you said that, because speaking of reels, when I was looking for relatable content or some motivational kind of reels, Eddie Murphy and it was pointed out to me, he actually said this in a movie. He said, if you really want to break it down, paraphrased, I'm going to say, to paraphrase,
So good.
if you really want to break it down, we have 75 summers, 75 springs, 75
Yeah.
winters, and 75 falls. Yo, when I heard that, I was just like, oh my gosh. Oh my God.
Mind blowing.
Because it's so real. Like, that's really the window that you've got. And depending where you are on that timeline, it's just like, did I waste my
Yeah.
life, or did I really utilize it? Like my life changed in 2015. But what was I doing before then? I was just chilling and partying. And I'm just like, now I look back on it, like I was celebrating all the trials and tribulations I've gone through. But it wasn't until within the last 10 years that I was like, yo, I want to leave a legacy now. I don't know how long things are going to go. You know what I mean? And like I said, it really put into context and perspective this last couple of months. People, I'm just like, whoa, all right, universe or source, you're really showing me, hey, stop procrastinating. If you want to get something done, do it 100%, start to finish, and do something else. Don't have 30 things half done,
Of course.
because it's wasted time, you know?
I remember like 20 years ago, you'd see life insurance adverts, and they'd
Mm-hmm.
be like, get life insurance 50 onwards, 65 onwards, whatever.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it's like, get life insurance for your kids. if you're
Yeah.
over 25, and it's like, fucking hell, Jesus.
Do they know
The-
something we don't?
yeah, like the difference. And
Yeah.
again, they get the money most of the time anyway.
Right.
But it's like over 20 years, it's almost like they've reduced that. I mean, I'm speculating whether it's a 40-year thing. I
Yeah.
believe that it's got to be about 30 years where
Yeah.
they go, yep, save it for your pension, whatever. But
Yeah.
you'd be it's kind of like, how long have we got? I mean, if they're trying to say, shit, get life insurance at 25,
Right. Right.
if I cash out at 70, my life wants to be amazing by then.
Exactly.
I mean, shit, because that should be a lot of money.
Right.
When
Right.
life insurance from 25 to 70.
Yeah. If you do it right, according to the financial gurus, you could have a lot of money. A lot of money. And then not saying that money is everything. So,
No,
I
it's
want to
not.
make sure
Money
that,
isn't everything.
but it's
It
not
helps.
the money, it's the user of the money, the
Yeah.
owner, how they utilize it, and that's another, going back to the educational. Why are you not teaching about investments? Why are you not teaching about, hey, credit cards are really not that great? Because if you don't only pay the minimum, that interest, you're paying more than you originally spent the first time. If you pay $100 on something and you're paying the minimum payment, I don't know if y'all are paying attention. Check out your card statements. You're paying about $200-300 more
Yep.
than on $100 expense. You know what I mean?
There's more than that as well, because
Oh, yeah.
it's like you get these, I think it's called Klarna or something like that.
Okay.
There's some crazy, I don't know if it's in the States, but it's like they used to have, it's like a pawn shop-esque thing where you just basically buy the item but in installments, so it's
Oh,
like,
wow.
let's
Like
say
layaway.
the original, yeah, so the original item would be like a £300 phone, and you're paying like 900, 1,001 over the whole
Exactly.
period of time. Like way worse than a phone contract,
Yeah.
way worse than anything else. Total credit ruiner. And kids don't even know about half of that shit. They don't know about
No.
APR. I don't barely even know about it. I know what it is.
I'm just learning. If anything, I'm lucky I learned it within the past 5 years, and that's
Yeah.
even late. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy. It's
I,
just
I can't even imagine what it stands for. Something
annual per something. Yeah.
rota, something like that.
Comment down below, engage, and like this channel, and share this podcast out. It's awesome. It's awesome. It's awesome. But yeah, I mean, these are the things that need to be addressed. Like, what are the fundamental factors that I need to know to live healthy, to live wealthy, and to be cognizant and awareness. I mean, one of the big things that I learned was, all right, credit card is emergency, everything is in cash. Try it, ladies and gentlemen. Leave your credit card at home or leave it somewhere deep in your wallet and only use cash. You will be so particular with how you spend your money, because it's a psychosomatic thing. It's a physical thing, because card or
Yep.
tap or scan or iPhone band or whatever it is, you have cash. You're like, oh wow, there's $20, $40.
Yeah.
Okay. So I
All
only
in
have three. It's like Monopoly all over again.
Yeah. Imagine if it's all in small change. It's
Oh my
like,
gosh. Can you
you'd feel so embarrassed. You're like, you're handing over little money bank bags. You're like, yep, there's £2 in there specifically.
Yep.
I counted it.
And that goes back to accountability and responsibility, really having the visual to it. I remember years ago, I was working with somebody and they wanted to quit smoking. And I was like, all right, that's cool. How do you want to do it? And they're like, well, I don't know if I could do it. But I learned their behaviors and they were very particular with their money. I said, all right, every time you smoke, you drop $1 in the jar. Oh my gosh. They were just like, no, I'm done smoking. This is horrible. And that's the physical thing of seeing where your money is going. And it doesn't work for everybody, but for that particular individual, their baby was money, their wallet. And I said, okay, put a single every time you went to grab a cigarette, and then also put that much money on how much the carton or the cigarette pack was worth. Boy, Boom. They stopped. They were like, okay, cool. We're good.
Well, it's almost working a little bit for myself because
Yeah.
smoke cigarettes,
Hmm.
smoke a little bit of the ganja,
Uh-huh.
obviously. And at points, I've smoked a lot, and
Hmm.
I got most of CBD just
Right.
so I don't get arrested. Well,
Right.
CBD, of course. Allegedly, I don't even smoke weed. Um,
Right. Exactly.
but but at points you'd go, it was never a big problem. But lately, I just I go fucking hell, smoking. Well, I seem to smoke more, but then I look down and I go, nah, I'm just not using as much. I go,
Yeah.
oh, interesting. And
Yeah.
not many people have noticed it, but myself and my own
Right.
wallet.
Yeah.
Where I go, wait a minute. I go, I've got fucking extra cash here. What do I do with it? Oh, let's
Yeah.
invest in some software. Let's do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or, or again, take the kids out, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's things like that where you just go, man, why has it took me so long to realize that again, it's not all about the money, but
It's
the
about the
certain
habitual ritual.
these habitual things for me are terrible. I
Yeah.
mean, I've got even earlier on during my last show,
Hmm.
coffee, caffeine.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I'm not gonna be able to keep my coffee warm, so I got an iced coffee.
Hmm.
You know,
Right. Right.
Te- terrible, by the way. If you're ever cold,
Uh-huh.
right, and if you're ever really really cold and it's about 13 degrees, make sure you get an iced cup of coffee, 13 degrees centigrade, by the way.
Interesting.
Get an iced cup of coffee and talk to a doctor and get yourself the shakes and shivers. From nervousness, it is one of the most pleasant, fun experiences you'll ever
Wow.
have in your entire life because
Wow.
you'll be like that. You'll be like, yeah, great, mate. Love the conversation. Yeah. Next thing you know, you're going, I've got to edit that. I can't do that. You know.
My vice
Hope.
is water. I know I have to drink so much water, and it's just like you think as a former athlete, yeah, it'd be no problem. I correlate. If I'm not sweating, then water's not for me. There's no flavor, and they're like, yeah, that's why it's called water. So I am working on that for myself, more water throughout the day because I do green tea, but it's not like tea leaves. It's like the processed tea, so it's green
Oh,
tea,
okay. Yeah,
honey, and
yeah.
ginseng, which has sugar in it, but
The
it's
ginseng's good
not
for you.
good. Yeah, but it's not like it's a brand name. It's not like ginseng, you know what I'm
Oh,
saying? So I'm sure there's a whole bunch of sugar in it,
wacky shit.
out
Yeah,
of
yeah.
it. Yeah. And so I did get when the grocery shopping, I did get
Excuse
the
me.
honey and the green tea. So I'm starting next week because I know because again my the way my mind works, I have to start on like a beginning day of some sort. So Monday, I am going to brew the tea, add the actual localized honey, add the all the information in, but it's difficult, and that's another thing. Even like individuals with eating habits, like you said, going all meat for you. Now your meat is obviously, like I mentioned before, totally different from the state's meats.
Yeah.
It's actually grazed meat, and they
I don't
properly
I don't think
do
some
it.
of it is, to be honest.
Yeah,
Some of it probably isn't.
yeah,
I think some of it depends what I'm getting. If I'm getting steaks and stuff like that, I
right.
think that some of it is glued together meat.
Okay, gotcha.
um, I sometimes and I also believe that some of the meat is food dyed, extremely.
Mm, yeah,
Like I've, years ago, I wouldn't have noticed it, but
right,
lately, when after different, going different supermarkets, whatever,
right,
I go, this is, most places there's not many abattoirs in the UK.
right.
So what's the difference? And one of my first jobs, I worked in an abattoir, so I've got some sort of mild knowledge.
Right.
Um, and I go, they can't all be going from the same store, obviously the
Yeah.
big processors. But then when I looked over the year, I was like, man, this isn't like blood. because the
Yeah.
way it would go in the pan, it was like, this is not blood. It didn't look like blood. It
The
would,
consistency was different. Is either watered down or thicker of some sort.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
believe it. I believe it was food dye, like
Yeah.
coloring, which
And
again, it's if you look at a real steak, it shouldn't be that red.
should
You
be
know,
pink. It should be like maybe a little bit, lighter than this.
yeah. I
You
I
know?
had one that was like almost this color, like a
Wow.
real, and I was like, you couldn't really tell when
Right.
it's sort, it's in a packet and it's like air
Unless it
wrapped.
was venison. Venison is pretty dark red.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No.
Yeah.
Venison's lovely. It's,
Yeah.
oh my god, lovely meat.
Yeah.
A little bit expensive in the UK. I think
Right.
it's
Oh
probably
yeah, here
cheaper.
too. Yeah.
I bet. Oh, is it?
The amount of the amount of deer that are in the
I don't
states, you
understand.
think.
That's what I don't understand. I would have thought that would have been cheaper than, not cheaper than beef, but like
Yeah.
almost an equivalent.
Yeah. I don't grocery shop, so I don't know. I don't cook, so I don't know. But but that's another thing. Going back to what we said, the dovetail back. It's like they raise the prices for stuff that's good for you.
Yeah.
Why? Why is there some underlying thread why produce out, even though you can, peel it and get the pesticides off and what have you, why it's more expensive than buying in bulk a frozen package of fruit? You know what I mean? Or whatever. And like I said, it goes back to way beginning of the show, time.
Yeah.
Easy, quick, fast fix. I don't want to prepare it. I don't want to put it in a crock pot for 8 hours. I don't want to stand in front of the stove for 2 hours because I'll be missing my binge watching Netflix or missing my reels for the day. You know what I mean? But I mean, if you think about it, look at our ancestors, look at our lineage. The maybe aside from disease, because obviously they weren't well curated meats, and
Yeah.
the oral hygiene, for the most part the indigenous people really sustained. I mean, they were never
It's
overweight.
it's
You know what I
crazy that
mean?
you can look at a skeleton from 10,000 years ago and it's got more teeth than most people now. I think,
Because of sugar. Because of sugar. When I like that was my whole like understanding when I worked at the wellness and whole holistic and wellness. It's sugar. That is our biggest vice here in the States, and number one in America. Sugar. Everything is sugar because it deteriorates your teeth, the enamel on your teeth. It's not meant to be consumed, really. It's
yeah,
supposed to
yeah.
curate or like add a little bit of flavor, but everything is pounds and pounds of sugar. I mean, you go on the rabbit hole of looking how much sugar is in a
Oh my
cup of
god,
coffee, a cup
tons,
of soda. Oh my gosh, you'll just be like, you would gag. I
loads.
remember when I was studying with that company, I was like, what? Wait, what? What is in what? You just kind of blows your mind. And I remember our family one time we did a 6-month grass-fed lean meat lifestyle for 6 months. Doing that in a countryside isn't that bad, but when you do it in a suburban area or a city area, if you don't have healthy greens or vegetables, you get like you become like enraged. Oh my God, I need to eat. I need to eat. And that was the
Really?
difficulty. Yes. When we did that and we were on the road and we were out and about and we wanted something to eat, all you see in the States is fast food, and you
Oh,
see stuff like
right.
that. So there was now it's getting more they're sprouting up more, but you
I know what
really
you mean.
didn't have healthy green salads. You didn't have fresh produce or fresh fruit that you can go, all right, I'm just going to go to the drive through, give me a smoothie with organic yogurt and stuff like that. If you're on the road, you know what I mean? But we did do it for maybe 6 months or so. We were in the best shape. Our energy, our health was tip top. But like I said, if you're like going to that hunger mode, it's like you got to find a grocery store open and accessible to do something, you
You
know?
feel like a cannibal almost.
Exactly. Exactly.
Like,
Exactly. Yeah. Absolutely.
most again, I'm sorry for the listeners and the vegans, that most of my meat is almost raw. it
Wow.
puts a lot of people off because five a steak, it spends, well, I don't know, 2 minutes, 3 minutes in the pan. Flip
Wow.
flip it every steak tip. Flip it every 30 seconds.
Wow.
That's about it. Barely even. It's almost. I couldn't.
Not like
I've had,
pate or something.
oh no, no. I've asked for it in a restaurant before, and they're like,
Yeah,
we
we
can't.
can't medically.
And
You have
I
to
go,
sign a
no.
waiver.
Well, the last time I went out for a decent meal, I got, normally I'm just used to long steaks,
Right.
and I got a fillet. They was like, hey, we've got all these fillets in the back. Do you want one?
Right.
It'd be cheaper, cheaper than whatever the steak was. So I was like, yeah, cool. And it was bigger, but it was just this chunky, huge thing.
Right.
Well, I can't remember what it was. But I was like, yeah, can I have it like this? And they was like, no, we can't really do it like that. I'm like,
Wow.
what? I'm like, that's how I was like, all right, whatever. And the way it
Wow.
come, I like put a bit of effort also into the meat,
Mm-hmm.
I believe
Yeah.
our jaw as well. We're not using our jaw for shit.
No.
We're not doing anything.
Right.
I used to have a crazy overbite as well, which I'm slowly working on.
Right.
Just by again meat and fucking working my jaw,
Mm-hmm.
chewing gum, even though that's pretty bad for you.
Right.
Um, but yeah, and it's I got the steak and it was just rubbish. I mean, I complained when it hit my plate because I was like, what is that? It looked like a really big meatball.
Wow.
And I was like, what is that? I was after a steak. It was like, oh,
Mhm.
that's the thing. And I was like, nah, that's not what I had in mind.
Not.
It was literally my response. And obviously I'm sat there on a meal with somebody,
Wow.
and I'm like, this is, and I've
So
just
how
had
do
a
you
steak.
so you get your meat like from a butcher and then just do that like quick cooking, if
Yeah,
you will?
yeah, I mean,
Not
it
even
depends.
cooking, it's just heating it up, really.
Yeah, it's just, well, it depends because if I'm doing it, I'll do slow cooks, like
Right.
a 6 hour thing. You just shove it in, fuck off for
Yeah.
a bit, come back. Oh, that's all
Yeah.
right. Eat it, like a brisket or like pulled pork or something like that.
Gotcha.
A lot of
So you
meat.
don't use so you don't have any vegetables or anything of that or carbs
Mm,
or anything, or you just have it?
Occasionally, this is another weird thing. I never used to be a big fan of chips as a kid.
Okay.
Hated chips, hate fries.
Mhm.
But lately I go, give me a big plate of oven chips
It's
once in
the
a blue.
salt. You're missing the
Yeah,
savory. That's what your body's
it's
craving.
yeah.
You
But
have it.
it's strange how you take they say your taste buds change. I mean,
Oh
I
yeah.
could still eat anything. If I go to a restaurant, I go, yeah, and I see something, I go, yeah, give me that.
Mhm.
It wouldn't bother me at all. Depending on what it was, but I'd still go, yeah, get that salad off because I don't want that at the moment. I'll
Yeah.
pick and choose. I'll pick and choose when to eat that. If I feel like
Right.
I need something, occasionally, like you get some good wraps, stuff like that.
Right. Yeah.
Like I'll have a bit of salad on there, something like that.
Wow.
But to be honest, yeah, it's mostly meat. Nice big piece
Yeah.
of chicken. We'll just fucking,
Yeah.
so just a lot of white meats, a lot of all that shit. I don't know if it's making a difference or not.
Mhm.
Um, the thing that what I was going to go into was I was listening the other day on a show, and they was talking about sugar and the
Yes.
fact that everything used to be cane sugar, but
Yes.
nowadays it's like
Not.
corn sugar,
Yep.
which is 100% times worse for you.
Yep.
And
Corn
that's
syrup.
the corn syrup. Yeah, that's what
Mhm.
seems to be the thing in America that they
Mhm.
have. That seems to be in everything.
Everywhere. It's everything. Yeah. It's ridiculous. You-
I sorry. I also just on that same American-esque vibe. We get occasional goods over here, like little shops and stuff. I went into my local the other day and seen a blue packet of crisps, which was
Wow.
the crisps were blue, and I've never seen that before. There was American. I didn't know
Yeah. Yeah.
if you
Yeah.
knew what they were.
Well, they're called corn chips or what
But they
have
were,
you. They're
yeah, they were,
purple, and there's purple ones, there's orange ones, there's
yeah,
blue
they're the
ones, and I'm
ones.
just
Yeah,
like,
they're the
what?
ones.
But it's so so saturated with sugar and salt, it's ridiculous, So like if you really have a savory moment, if you're seeking something savory, those are the way to go because they're just constant going.
They are
It's yeah.
£6 a pack.
Wow.
6 English, yeah, they're not
That's
right.
ridiculous.
They're right. I don't know what the cost is. That as in dollars,
I don't know. Yeah.
$3.50.
Yeah,
Something like
about
that.
$3.50, $4, I'd say.
Yeah, something like. But that's quite a lot for a bag of chips,
And 2/3 of
Quite a
that
lot.
bag is air.
Air, yeah, air.
I'm just like I don't know
That's
about you,
huge.
but that's another thing like epiphany as I was growing up. I was just like, why is everything either so small or so much air, or I just got bigger, which is not the case. You know what I mean? Like all of the products are getting.
The trick of the brain.
I'd rather have a meal at home cooked meal from any family member nowadays, unless there's a few spots that I go to that I'm just like, I gotta go there. But a lot of it either is undercooked, under flavored, under seasoned, or complete opposite. It's like not even
Yeah.
palatable to eat. You know what I mean? It's just
What about
difficult.
like top 3 dishes? That's a fun one. Top
Top
3 dishes.
3 dishes. All right. So the top one that I love is churrascaria, and it's a Latin cuisine. It is skirt steak, talking about meats, pardon the
Okay.
vegan viewers out there. It's a very thin, cut of meat,
Yep.
but it's like you can cut it with a fork, if you will. So that would be my top, with side of plantains, sweet plantains, and yellow rice, with carrots, peas, and I believe sometimes they put like little tomatoes or peppers in it. That's number one. Number two, another Latin cuisine, but the only one I had was my grand aunt. So my grandfather's sister made homemade paella. Again,
nice.
yellow rice with chicken and all the
Mm.
seafood. Although my perspective about seafood has completely changed because I don't remember
Mercury?
where we were. They were like, "Oh, sea bugs," and I was like, "Well, that just destroyed everything in my viewpoint."
Sea bugs?
They was lobsters and shrimp are bugs of the sea. That's like,
Yeah.
thanks.
Yeah.
That just cut everything because I used to love seafood, and then that just stuck in my brain. So I was just like, wow, that's a new take on it. So pardon me for those viewers out there if I just sabotaged your perspective on seafood.
I had never thought about it like that.
Neither had I until it was destroyed.
Yeah,
even
like, those little octopuses are like sea bugs.
Yeah. Lobsters, crabs. I was just like, well, that just really changed my, but yeah. Sorry for the viewers out there. I still love you. And then the third one probably would be any pasta dish, like pasta bolognese, fettuccine alfredo, marinara sauce and pasta. Don't forget, my family is of Irish and Italian descent. So that was really what was honed in. The Latin dishes came in as, my community had changed with family and friends that, were in that culture. And I was just like, oh, that's awesome. So those would be the top 3. The churrascaria skirt steak that's made in the Latin restaurants, paella, as well as a good pasta dish, whether of any kind of pasta. I'm not a fan of the
carbonara?
mushroom. No, carbonara is good, but the mushroom and the gravy sauce with pasta, I forgot what it's called, but that I'm not really a fan of.
I don't know what that is. I've never heard of that.
Yeah, let me see if I can figure it out. What about you?
Well, carbonara is up in my top always, but only it's got to be very, made the correct way.
Oh, absolutely.
I am again. I'll always have a nice big steak up on there,
right?
And probably maybe some sea bass.
Okay.
Again, depending on where it's cooked and
yes, exactly.
It's very tricky to add a fish sort of dish into my
yeah.
I
Exactly.
can't especially now because of the bugs of the sea with stuff like that. Maybe not the sea bass.
Pardon
Obviously,
me.
the sea bass isn't the bug of the sea, but
Right.
he
No, he's a fish.
resides with
He's a fish.
he
He's a fish.
resides with them. He lives
Yeah.
alongside them, so it's good enough. But no,
Yeah.
probably. I mean, even then, I'm always a big fan of anything Italian.
Yeah.
Lasagna,
Oh
always
yeah,
good.
lasagna's
You
good. Yeah.
know,
But it's all about the chef too. You can
yeah.
tell when heart is put into a recipe.
Oh yeah.
That, like I said, that's been lost recently, in the past couple of years. It's just about mass production or how fast you can get it out. That's why
Well,
there's only particular restaurants where I'm willing to wait an hour. I'm willing to wait 30 minutes for I know it's authentic. I know it's good. You know what I mean?
but it's like Jamie Oliver. He had a bunch of
Yes.
chains in the UK.
Hmm.
You know, he was worldwide known for years. Done his
Yeah.
own chain of restaurants, which you go there'd be massively successful. They
Hmm.
were for a bit. Obviously, what happened was he had tons of chains. He's not overseeing them himself.
Right.
The
Yeah. They put their
quality,
own stake on it.
yeah, the quality goes down. Same thing that happened with McDonald's. To be quite
Yeah.
honest, they had their own original thing. Then there was like, oh, we'll have this, then this,
Right. Right. Right.
and it's almost the inevitable. Once
Yeah.
one person's running the place, they're essentially, the owner.
Right.
And who's going to really be able to go, hey, Jamie, who's a fucking up?
Right.
Well, now they're most of the restaurants are folding, super expensive, and it's
Yeah.
and it's for food that if it was personally cooked by him, you go, ah, great, but
Yeah. It's
pa-
worth it.
you're paying for somebody else to cook his style of food in their
Right.
style, and you
Yeah.
don't ever get to see the cook.
Right.
They're pretty
Right.
horrible, they're not great looking people most of the time.
Right.
Not from the UK anyway, at least. I've
I've
worked in
watched a few chef
kitchens.
shows in the European. I was
Uh,
like,
I've
wow, stay in the kitchen.
Yeah, don't ever let anyone know you're cooking their food because
Right.
no one will ever come here again. It's
Right.
one of them.
They're not all Gordon Ramsay and those
No, they're
beautiful
really
people.
not.
Yeah.
I I went out and got breakfast the other day. At, a local pub chain restaurant.
Mhm.
I've always loved it. It's cheap but shit food in a way. It's just
Yeah.
it's reasonable. It's a pub, but wait, what you
Yeah.
getting?
Yeah.
And little breakfast wrap, and I just seen one of the cooks come out, and no offense to the lady, I'm not going to mention the chain, but I just went,
Yeah.
just
It's like you're going
from
to a health and fitness and wellness doctor who's 400 pounds. Come on, man.
it was needless to say the least. I don't know if you have this in America, but UK, the like UK dinner ladies years and years ago, it was like that. That's what the UK
Okay.
listeners are. The Americans might not get that reference, and
Right.
there might be some reference to it somewhere, but
Right.
yeah, it's just not good.
Yeah.
In fact, it would almost be like a woman. Do you know the women that you see in like on the old Walmart
British.
things
Yeah.
a few years ago, like a Walmart-esque lady with like the dress again and the slippers and shit. So, scrap all of her attire, replace it with a chef's outfit, and that is the final image.
And you're
AI
just
could
like,
probably
wow.
generate that. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was.
Right.
I'm sure. Yeah, again, it was a bit. I was like, all right, I weren't gonna say it, but
Did you finish the food at least, or was it after the
I'd already,
fact?
I'd already eaten it. It was nothing I could do. And funnily enough, I'm not gonna blame this lady, but I did have a cold and a bit of a
Oh,
sore
wow.
throat. I still kind of got it. It was two
Too
weeks
much
ago.
of
It's
a
not going yet.
coincidence.
It
Yeah.
was, yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Again,
Right.
enough of that story. Sorry, lady. I don't know who you
Yeah,
are.
yeah. No, I mean, but it's also again too, it's like, the passion. Are you doing it for the money? Or are you doing it for the
Yeah,
passion? Because that's when you find it. I mean, I in the States, you go to these bougie restaurants and they look great, the staff looks great, but you're kind of like, I paid for this? Really?
yeah,
And this amount of portion? Not for nothing. You go to in the States, again, in some parts of the States, of my personal experience, you go to the urban restaurants and you get a portion of this, and you're like,
Oh
yo, that's
yeah.
3 dinners, but it's like a third of the price that you would pay at an elite place. Why? Because it's community based. It's passion. It's like, I remember one time I was working, and we were going, and they were like, oh, do you want something from this place? And I was like, nah, I'm good. I'm gonna go elsewhere. So they went to this chain restaurant and bought all this stuff. So I went to a little local place nearby, and they were like, oh my gosh, that's a huge amount of food. It was like a whole container. And they're like, you probably paid a fortune. I was like, yeah. How much was yours? And they were like, oh, it was 20 something per plate. I was like, really? This was $4.75, and then
Hold
20 and
on.
another dollar for the drink. And they're like, what? I was like, yeah. And it was 3 plate. It was literally 3 servings. And it's about quality, not quantity. You know what I mean? In this case, it was the opposite. It was a huge amount, but it was good quality.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's what it's about. And then going to dovetail what we were talking about, being those artists, being those creators of, yeah, the herd is doing this. They're dipping into their pockets to do that. Good for them, to each his own. But I'd rather learn all the mechanics of what I'm doing, so when I'm ready to hire, or when I'm ready to work with the team, or I'm ready to do something of the nature, I know I'm not getting the rug pulled under my feet.
Of
You know what
course.
I mean?
Well, believe it
Mm,
then, prior
yeah.
to the show time, this is the first time I'm using Google Meets,
Yeah.
and the whole title thing, I was like, man, my other box, you'll see,
Yeah.
again, for the listeners out there, the next show that comes out after this, I've done this in reverse, but the next show that comes out after this, you'll go, that motherfucker's box is so small. And I guarantee that, and again, you'll notice from that moment, you'll go, oh, yeah, let's do. So even then, it's about learning and knowing your craft, isn't it? And,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
It's all
like,
about experience. That is what is going to get you in the door. I can't remember the motivational speaker. I was sitting in a webinar at one point, and it was funny. They were talking about this individual who kind of self-taught. It was self-made, and they were like, okay, comes to the house, does what he needs to do, and what so forth and so forth. And they're like, okay, how much is that? And he's like, oh, about $1,000. He was like, you were here for like literally 10 minutes. It's like, yeah,
yeah,
$1,000. You know why? Because I found the right gadget to fix the machine. So $1 for service and $999 for the
that's,
part. And I
that's
thought that was
great.
awesome. Paraphrased, of course. I thought that was awesome. I was like, that's self-made individuals, because you don't want everybody doing something for you. And that's going, again, dovetailing back to what we were saying. People want to be told what to do. People don't want to do something, or people say, I got a robot, or somebody will do it for me. Somebody will do it. How are you evolving? Because you're really being degenerative by letting everything do it for you, and you're really existing. So, yeah.
But it's like I was saying earlier, it's like the easy way out, isn't it?
Yeah.
The lazy way out. But people are not realizing that we're almost going to revert back to cavemen,
Yeah.
in its own fashion. I don't know if you've seen the film Idiocracy.
Yes. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh. I was talking about that to a UK gent just not too long ago. And he's like, this is what we're turning into. And I didn't
yeah, it's the
remember I
same.
saw that movie. So I saw the trailer just to refresh my brain. I was like, oh my gosh. It's happening.
We,
It's really happening,
I,
like,
I,
oh my
I, wa-
goodness.
I can't remember where. I mean, I'd seen it. Yeah, I love these really little obscure films, and
Yeah.
I'd watched it years ago, but not thought about it. Just because it just sits in the back.
Yeah.
It's
In the
one of
back of your
those.
mind. And
Yeah,
then all of a
you
sudden
don't
it's like,
think about.
wait a minute.
I can't remember where I heard about it because I was listening to a podcast and they mentioned it, and
Yeah.
then I was like, oh my god, yeah, it really is like that.
Yeah.
To the point, I'm now going to pass the information. It's this is the joy of podcasting. It's the chain of information that never
Right.
stops.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So let's just again, getting a bit on here, and I'm on coming up on your show as well.
Yes,
So
yes.
I want to make sure that we're not going to burn out.
Right,
I
right.
don't want to. So I just want to ask one more final little question before we cover the show,
Absolutely.
and it will give me a good couple of segments as well to put some music into there.
Sure.
Um, is there anything during this? Again, we started the show off talking about 2 years, and is there anything during this 2 year period where
Mhm.
you feel that yourself you've had a problem and a little bit of an issue, and then you've had to overcome it yourself in a manner that essentially is a little bit out of the box. So obviously during this time, everyone's all learning and evolving.
Mhm.
Has there been like a situation where you're like, this is pretty tricky, and you've had to adapt and evolve during this 2 year period?
The 2-year period since we've been on last, or the
Yeah,
time
yeah,
period? Okay. Yeah,
during
no,
the
absolutely. I've had to really be mindful and cautious with seeing the iceberg at the surface and not realizing the underbelly of it. And what do I mean by that is, I've had to really dig deep and down inside and say, you know what, Andrea? Not everybody's like you, both in a good way and a bad way. Because I would connect with individuals and I would believe the intention was one direction.
right, yeah,
And then what happened, it fell by the wayside, or it was an unveiling, if you will, pulling behind the curtain. Yeah, well, this is what I really meant. And it was really a jagged pill to swallow because it reverted back to my child of trusting people. Look, I'm here to help people, at the same token, provide for my family, but I'm not here to compete against you. If anything, my mission is to learn from you and then forgive you paying it forward on what I knowledge and I have, because what my skill set may be is your area of improvement, and vice versa. Going back to the old days of possible bartering,
yeah,
and really negotiating. Hey, this is what I know. I want to help you advance, expecting the reciprocation. And a lot more times within these 2 years, I got burned. And I was just like, well, all right, what is the takeaway from this? Number one, I can't expect everyone to beat or meet the standards that I think they have or
got you.
exceed, And then the other thing is going back to the roots and feeling confident to ask questions. I'll never forget one situation. I had a situation where I was blindsided. I was asked to do this project. I was all in and everything. And then after I've done it, all of a sudden they show me the fine print after the fact. And I was like, wait a minute, that's not at all what was discussed. And I got burned. And when I put myself and my ego out of the way was when I realized, you know what? I'm going to ask questions. I'm going to be upfront. I am not a fan of, let me phrase this correctly, false advertising, if you will. That's the safest way I can
Okay,
say it. Okay. You're guarantee or providing me this in exchange for this, or this is the results. Okay. And then I follow through with my part, and you either decide something's come up or, yeah, we're going to change it a little bit.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I know what you
I'm not a
mean. Yeah.
fan of that. And I had to learn the hard way. And so, what I'm very particular about, and I'll ask up front, A, B, C. Okay, what is your intention? What is the vision? What is the message? Whether it's in coaching, whether it's in speaking, whether it's whatever connection, even personal and familial friendships. Because we have been so jaded, we've gotten hurt so many times from people. Everybody has a story. And what I've learned over the past 2 years, if you cannot or have not or have yet faced your past, it will haunt you and it'll continue to chase you. And what
That
I mean by that is You can have a conversation and be with a gent or a mate and they do you wrong and you haven't forgiven them yet. You may drop them, you may cut them off from your life. But truth be told, another person with those same characteristic traits, same physical features, same tone of voice, you've already discarded them because you haven't dealt with that incident
Of
that
course.
has occurred then. So that was the healing process, the personal and professional develop I've learned within the past 2 years since we've connected. I'm very particular with my communication. I'm very particular with my verbiage. And if you want to work me, cool. I welcome it. I appreciate it. But I'm going to be real. If it does not align with what I'm doing, I'm not going to give you 1%, 50%, 75%, let alone
Not
100%.
even one.
Yeah. And it's funny because one time somebody had said this to me and it was really powerful. Would you want 1% from everybody or 99% of one person? And I said 99%
Very
of one
interesting.
person.
Yeah.
And I was just like, and
It's a really good
they was,
question.
yeah. And they were like, well, why wouldn't you want 10, 20, 30, 1%? And I said, no, I want one person. I want 100% all the time. Cause that's what I'm going to give you. If I can't give you 90, 100%, then I'm going to say, Tim, let's postpone it. Let's do it another time. I'm just real like that. But the person that gives 99% is giving you passion, purity, and their presence. Those 1% has 20 other jobs they're giving 1% to meet
Yeah,
that
yeah.
100%. They're not fully invested in you. They're not fully secure and functional to say this is just as important as etc. You know what I'm
Do you
saying?
know, that's such a really good question because I would like to ask that everybody.
Yeah.
Because I would like to create a poll and see how many people actually go, yeah, the 1%. It's such a good judge of character.
Yeah.
Because 1% off, again, you got 100 people in a room. That
Yeah.
one person, that 99, one person gives you 99%, bang.
Yeah.
1% off all them don't mean shit. And
Yeah.
let's say then you go even further with that and put it to 1,000. It's
Yeah.
still nothing.
Right.
It's still 10, well, all you're just doing is moving the decimal point, but
Right. And
like,
when I was presented with that, I took a couple of seconds because I was my immediate reaction. Oh yeah, I want 10
yeah,
percent. Wait a minute. Do I want 10 people giving me 1%? Where's that other 99% going? You know what I'm saying? Dog eats dog. It goes back to that world. So that was the really biggest jagged pill I learned over the past 2 years. I was putting people's expectations and potential and experience at top notch because that's what I give.
of course.
And when I realized that it wasn't reciprocated, I had to be more selective. Am I being appreciated, recognized, and given the recognition for why they asked me to do what or what their intention is behind it, or they just want another slot to fill, just like work.
Of
Nowadays, you
course.
can be replaced as a robot. I said, you have to come to the point of your life where you're irreplaceable. And that's not easy to do.
But there's only one of you,
Right.
There's nothing you can't, there's no, it's even, people go, yeah, I want to live forever. If I could clone myself, I would. And you go, well, yeah, but that's not you. What would you
Right.
just be a husk of like a human
Exactly.
with essentially your, minor bits of coding inside,
Right.
which is next to nothing,
Yeah.
It's not quite you. It's not lived your experiences. It's not, that is what it is.
Right.
So
And that's a phrase that gets me. It is what it is. I cringe because it doesn't have to be that way. Because
no, it
people
doesn't.
have the ability to change it. And that's what it was, pardon me, just to kind of finish what I was saying is
No, that's okay.
the 99% versus the 1%, the question is it quantity versus quality? Because when you take somebody that's passionate about something, again, it goes back, dovetailing. Are you willing to do what you love every single day, even if you didn't get paid for it?
Yep.
You know? So, yeah.
No, that's the thing. I will ask that. I'm going to ask that question. I'm going to create a small poll on that because it genuinely is interesting. I have one final question, and this is a segment that I've introduced now to season 3. During my time off, I got this 8-ball, and
Oh my gosh, I remember those.
it only this is but the problem is whatever you ask it always is bad. It only ever it's like a cursed 8-ball. It's what I call it.
Okay.
So and even then, if you ask it something positive or negative, I can guarantee. I would love to get this close-up camera to be able to fully get it up there. Oh, maybe I can today.
There you go.
It might work today, but it is cursed, and this is a segment I like to call "What would you like to ask the cursed 8-ball?"
If it's so, it's kind of like that Labyrinth movie.
Nothing bad has ever happened. Honestly, I don't know if it is cursed. It might not. You know, it's a fun segment.
What would you ask the 8-ball? Are people able to see one another through sources' eyes?
Okay. Are people able to see? Are people able to see other people
one another
through sources'
eyes? Yes.
Through sources' eyes.
Yes.
Okay. Let's go get some light to this bad boy.
Okay.
No, just a straight no. Wow.
Oh,
We got that.
All right. Wow.
Just a straight no that time. Someone asked me the other day for 50 grand, and it said absolutely not, which was pretty crazy.
Right.
You know, super simple as well. I was like, absolutely not. It's not like I've got these all memorized in my head. I actually wished I did, because that would be easier.
You write it down. You just write them down. Playback. Hit the playback.
That's cheating. That is. I wouldn't cheat my listeners out of that.
Yeah.
But no, it's genuinely again. I've asked it loads of stuff. I did say, am I going to die in a couple of days? And it went absolutely. And I was like, I'm not buying that. A week passed, and I weren't dead. So this has been a great fun episode. Very, very loose. Yeah. I only got to half of my questions. Again, I needed to get through some more. Aww. But it's
we could do it. We could have me back.
Well, again, always welcome on the show. It doesn't even matter. The season thing doesn't even matter. That's just made up in my head.
Yeah.
In my head, it's still the first season, but I'm just going, season 3. Laughing at everyone, going, no, there's never been any seasons. It's a continuous run.
Right.
Trust me, but no, it's been really, really fun. I wish I've got over some of the topics. Again, I'm going to be a guest on your show.
Yes, you are. Yes.
I'm very much looking forward to that. Well, listen, today we've been here with Andrea Mason.
Yes.
If you've got any, I've not done this yet. Any final words of the show?
Yes.
Rather than me end it, that'd be easier.
Absolutely. Just a quick plug, as I will, in less than a week, my book is coming out. So stay tuned to that.
I wish I'd have known that. I could have spoke about that.
Yes. So my book is coming out. As mentioned earlier in the segment, I've got 1,000 video channels of all different content on my YouTube channel. And I want to end with this. No matter how hard your life has been, no matter tragedies, trials, tribulations you have overcome with triumphs, anything that you have gone through gives you the right and certification to help others overcome it too. Just remember that.
That was absolutely brilliant. That was the Posthuman Podcast. Thank you very much, people.